Hey, anyone out there? I'm in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, as some of you know, and I'm going to be leaving the hotel here soon. Got to shower, got to get dressed, got to get ready, man, because I'm gonna have a training today, and today is Sunday. For those of you in the United States, it's Sunday morning, so it's Saturday night back in the U.S. For some of you. One thing I wanted to just share, and it's one thing I just thought about, that what I love about network marketing and in doing these training meetings and teaching people things that I have learned in this business. It's sort of like music. You never have to translate music, do you? It doesn't matter to me whether you're an American or you're Chinese or you're Malay or you're Indonesian, wherever you live. When you hear music, hello, Miss Lee, good to see you. Always nice to see you, Miss Lee. Robert Nelson, you're up too late, man. You're a typical networker. Hey, Renee, I don't know where you are. You could be anywhere. You're a world traveler too. Hey, Raj, good to see you. Good to see you, Raj. And the thing about it is that network marketing is just like that. It's just like music in a way, that the principles never change. The principles work the same for people in the United States as much as they do in Russia, China, over here in Malaysia. I'll be leaving for Indonesia tomorrow to do some training events over there, and then after that back in Singapore. But the principles never change. And that is what needs to be taught to the leaders applies to everyone. It applies to everyone. Therefore, it's not a mystery as to how to be successful in this business. It's just a matter of execution and just getting it done. Just getting it done. And then today I'm going to be talking about that, but also there's the psychology of what holds people back too, and that's past experiences, maybe some disappointments people go through, and they choose to let that weigh them down where they can no longer run this race. And I'm going to be talking about how to get rid of that. Ben, you're up too late, man. Past your bedtime. Good to see you. But that's the thing. So a lot of people allow past disappointments to spoil their dreams and what they want to achieve in life. And so I'm going to be talking about that today in our training event, and also the daily activities, that we need to be doing. We set goals, and sometimes these goals are like what do I want to achieve at the end of the year, or a 5-year goal, or we might have a title position goal. I want to be a platinum. Sure, everybody does, but how do you get there? Hey, Mon Mendoza, that's one of my mentors too. He's a great guy. And so it's easy to throw those goals out there, but now what's the plan to get there? The other thing I'm going to be talking about is the success coma that leaders fall into. And it really can erode their business. And then they wake up one day out of the coma and they say, wow, what happened? Well, what got them in the success coma in the first place? So I'm going to be talking about that, how going to sleep can be so damaging to your career as a professional network marketer. And so those are going to be some of the things I'm going to be sharing. Also, the elite club that we have over here. Why that's so important, because the elite club is a springboard into the president's club, and how important that is to be an elite club member. So I'm going to be talking about that and other things too, how to be a high performance leader, what you have to do to be a high performance leader. I'm going to be discussing that as well at our meeting today. So that's going to be at 2 o'clock Malaysian time. So for those of you in the United States, you can go to bed and see the replay. Hey there, Cheryl. Good to see you. Christine, good to see you. So for those of you that, for those of you on this side of the world, you have no excuse if you missed the Facebook Live training and beyond that training, because we're going to be discussing all these things. And if you just joined and you didn't hear what I just said on this Facebook Live video, then just do the replay. I'll post it here in a minute. But I'm going to go take a shower now. That means I have to turn the camera off, okay? Because I don't want to get embarrassed, okay? Good seeing all of you. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, we have two at Altgilbers, my husband. Thank you. Let's listen Jeff talk now.
Yeah, good afternoon. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Good afternoon. There we go. Good afternoon. But we always say good morning, right? Okay. So glad to be here today with you and to share things with you. How many of you came here today because you really want to really take your business to the next level? How many? How many? How many? How many? How many? Okay. And you notice you guys were on time too. And leaders are on time. They are on time. There's a lot of people going to come in late. That's okay. We'll let them come in. But, they're going to have to buy us lunch afterwards. That's what happens when you're late, okay? But listen, today I want to share with you my experiences in network marketing. I've been involved now 39 years, so it's I'm approaching the 40-year mark. And I know what some of you are thinking. 40 years and it didn't kill you? That's right, it didn't kill me. I met a man in Texas at an event we did just this year, and he was one of the founding leaders of Herbalife. And he says, "You've been in 40 years? Man, you should have seen what it was like 50 years ago." I said, 50 years ago and you're still alive? Yeah, I tell you, that sounds like a horror story. I don't know if I want to watch that flick. But times have changed. But here's the thing. I want you to learn something from this journey, because I learned something always from this journey. And a lot of times when we go on this journey, people draw the wrong conclusions about really what happened. And it really stops them from achieving any of their dreams of life, and they just settle in life for just very little, very little. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to learn on this journey, and I'm going to get started right now. When I got involved, I'm going to do a timeline. I was looking to see how big this board was. I'm going to need 2 hands for this. Let's go. Ta-da! Okay. So 1978 was when I got started, and that company was FLP. FLP was Forever Living Products. Have you ever heard of Forever Living?
Yes.
Oh, wow, okay. Of course you have. Okay? And you know what they specialized in? They specialized in aloe vera. We had those yellow jugs. And so my sponsor sold me a case and got me started. And I said, "Well, what do I do?" He said, "You go out and you sell this stuff." I said, "Okay." And that's all I do. Because back then, we did not have the internet. We didn't have personal computers. We did not have cell phones. We did not have FedEx, UPS. We did not. And you're going, "Oh my gosh." And when I told this to my 9-year-old son, he said, "Yeah, Daddy, but did you have Wi-Fi?" Even he doesn't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm telling you that, the only thing we had was product and maybe a brochure. That was it. That was all we had back then. And so then I would go out and I would, sell this stuff, and people would try it and they'd choke on it and say, "Oh man, this stuff tastes terrible. I'll put it in your orange juice. It's good for you. Drink it, And then I'd have to go and follow up and see how they're doing. That was how I did it back then. Whole idea back then of building an organization didn't exist, because we didn't, companies back then, they didn't have, these computer systems like we do today, right? The only people that had that was like Washington, D.C., and they were as big as this building is. And that's the way it was back then. And then now, today, when you think about how much times have changed, this is a computer. This is a computer. Look how fast everything changed. And so back in that time, I didn't understand the idea of team building because it was never taught to us. We were mostly just people that would train people how to sell products, and that's all we did back then. And then after that, then here, here came the 1980s, and in the 1980s, things were different. Things were different in the 1980s. We got this real cool thing. It was called a VCR. And now, even though we didn't understand how to do product presentations so well, maybe, or we didn't understand how to team build, the whole concept of team building was happening. So I'll just put that there. Team building. Team building. So that started coming into play, whereas over here we were mostly retailers. And that's what we were, retailers. And so the whole concept of team building was coming into play. And we could put the tape in and somebody would teach us, how to sponsor people, how wide to go, how to help those leaders to develop leaders. And then we had, a whiteboard where we could draw circles and explain organization structure, how to do things back then. That's how we did it back then. And so times were changing. In the meantime, I was listening to Nightingale Conant. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of Earl Nightingale. Jim Rohn. How many of you heard of Jim Rohn? Okay, so you notice how the hands went up on Jim Rohn? Well, let me tell you, I was listening to his mentors. Okay? I was listening to his mentors. And at that time, I was part-time, and keep in mind, in this era, we didn't call it network marketing because the internet didn't exist, right? So we called it multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing. It wasn't until the internet came around that we started changing it, and now we call it network marketing because now we could reach out to people anywhere in the world. Everything was changing. Whereas before, everything was more of a local focus. If you built a team in the 1980s, you usually did it in the area you lived. You didn't go, maybe it would spread out to some other states in the United States, but we certainly didn't go outside the United States. That wasn't happening. But the whole concept of team building was coming into play, and we were learning now how to build an organization. And like I said, at that time, I had a business coming in, so multi-level marketing was a hobby for me. It was something I enjoyed. I liked listening to Jim Rohn's mentors, Earl Nightingale, people like that, and it was just something I enjoyed doing. But in this timeline here, in the 1980s, then everything started changing, and then we go into the we go into the early 1990s. Everything's changing now. Of course, in the late 1980s, I got this cool thing. It was called an answering machine. So now I can leave a professional phone call. Hello, this is Jeff Altgilbers. I'm a blah, 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 and so, and I missed your message, but your message is important to me. So please leave it, I'll call you back immediately. Those things. So we had that. But in the 1990s, then we got this cool thing. It was called the fax machine. Fax machine. Now we didn't have to mail our applications in anymore. We could fax those suckers in. Well, that was cool. That was really cool. And also, I'll have to say that in the late I left this out, in the late 1980s, I got this other cool thing. It was called a cell phone. Do you know what the cell phones looked like back then? Walkie-talkies. This thing was this big with an antenna, okay? Yeah. I would walk into a restaurant, sit it down on the table. Everybody's looking at me. Sit it down on the table. I'd stand back, sit down. They're looking around. They come up and start talking. I said, what do you do? Oh, I'm in multi-level marketing. And that's what we said, multi-level marketing back then. What's that? Glad you asked.
You know, it was that kind. So it was a talking thing. It created curiosity and all that. And it was cool because we didn't have to go to payphones anymore and put a dime in and call somebody, how you doing on the product? I'm choking on it, man. Oh, put some orange juice in. I'll be right over. You know? But here's the thing. The one thing you'll notice in this timeline is as technology was changing society, that was changing how we did multi-level marketing, eventually network marketing, and it also made it easier for us to do the business. It always was positive. It was never negative. Always positive, never negative. And then in the I'd say right here in the 1990s, we started doing right about let me see, 1990. Well, 1990. I'll go 1993. Just to make a comment on that. It was very meeting driven. So I was driving around the United States. I remember having a small little car. It was called Horizon, made by Chrysler. Have you ever seen one? You know the first y'all to do a meeting can't read a sign. It's all in French. All in French. You know, and I called the leader. I said, I can't read anything. It's all in French. And he said, just go by the numbers, man. You go by exit 13. I'll see you at exit 13. Okay, I can read that number. And but that's the way it was. We were just constantly. And I can remember going into in the northeast, above New York state of Maine. I can remember staying there for a whole month, going with leaders, and we were doing one meeting after another. And the interesting thing was, like my main leader, the top leader, we understood at that time, in that year, the importance of duplication, how important duplication was. So we trained our leaders how to do home meetings in that year. How to do home meetings. We had a criteria. It was a herbal vitamin, herbal company. Today it's called Unicity, but it used to be called Enrich, and that was the company I was in. And when we were doing meetings, we were training leaders how to duplicate. So I had my assignment where I was supposed to go. It might be in somebody's house. I might be doing a presentation in a church, or it might be a hotel. It might be anywhere. And then the other leaders had their assignments. And we had everybody, we had 10, 15, 20 presentations going on every night somewhere. And all the leaders were involved. No one depended on one leader to do that. So it was at that time we understood the importance of duplication. What a shift. It was a big shift at that time. So I wasn't depending on the VCR to do the presentation. I had to do the presentation. Another leader had to do the presentation. And then we'd all gather together, maybe one night during the week. It was quite an experience. And so, but then taking it to another level, then we go to, right around the internet, of course, is now becoming the thing, though very few people are tapping into it. But I can tell you that when I joined For Life back in 1998, at that time, I did not own a personal computer. And some of you might have seen my Facebook picture where I was, look a little stressed, sitting behind a wooden desk with the cat. With the cat. And there's no computer. You see my list of names, my prospects, and I got a telephone. And then that's all I'm doing. I'm pounding the phone. That was when I joined For Life, and at that time, and the thing back then, the big thing back then was conference calls. Conference calls. That was a new technology back then for us. It was powerful because now we could get 1,000 people on a call and explain the opportunity. So it was something that we used back then. And I can remember my first 90 days in For Life. My first 90 days, we put in 800 people. When I joined For Life, 800 people in my first 90 days. I went to the top of the plan. The top of the plan back then was International Diamond. Gold and Platinum didn't exist. It didn't exist. So I hit the plan, and it was 25,000 life points on 3 levels back then. And again, we were using conference calls. It was just a powerful tool. And so in all that process of when you look at it, again, we always use technology to leverage with it on building our business, and it always turned out to be good when we did. Now, there were always people that didn't understand it, and they would never make the shift. When they did make the shift, they got left behind, right? So, and then of course, when we look at it today, what is the, I don't do conference calling anymore today. I'll take that back. I do it in India, because in India, it's still a very powerful tool to be able to reach leaders. So I will do a conference call with that country. But outside of that, Facebook Live today is the most powerful tool in that network marketers use, professionals that use. Anybody will tell you Facebook Live is the most powerful way to reach people long distance. So what does that mean? We don't do meetings? No, we're doing a meeting today. But we're talking about communicating our vision, communicating with our leaders. That is the most powerful tool, the most powerful tool. I was just recently in Florida, and I met with a number, I'd say, he's probably the second most famous trainer in network marketing, Ray Higdon. And when I had a meeting with him recently, he told me, he said, I looked at what you're doing with social media and Facebook, you're right on. He said, the thing that you got to do now is start using Facebook Live more. He said, I recommend you use it every day. If you do that, you'll crush it. And I'll talk a little bit more about social media, Facebook, how you can use it to your advantage. But what I want to talk about now, and let me see. I'm going to erase the timeline. But I'm going to talk about things that happened during this timeline too. And some of my training points, I should have hired somebody for this. This worked, man. Boy, I thought network marketing was hard. And the interesting thing I want to say too is regarding technology and how it's changed what we do. That we called it multi-level marketing, in the late 70s, and then when the internet came around, we called it network marketing. Actually, what they call it today, social networking. Social networking. Why? Because social media is changing everything. So we call it social networking. It's a different concept because the professionals, the networkers out there today, they're using social media and leveraging on it, and they're getting great results. Okay, so here's the thing, and I brought some notes so I could stay on track. Here's the question that I want to ask you. When you think about it, when you look at that timeline, where are you in that timeline right now? Okay? Because some leaders are back in 1978. I'm serious. They have a retailer's mentality, and they're so product focused. And actually, you've heard a lot about the Philippines and the success in the Philippines. I can tell you the original leaders we launched with, that's the kind of focus they have. Now, a whole new generation of leaders that have come, and they got a totally different mindset. And that is, their mindset is on building a business, Today, I have 12 platinums under me, 75 golds in my organization. I can tell you, if I had the product mindset where I was just going to go out and retail a product, I'd be lucky just to sell $1,000 a month, and I don't think I can do that. But today, my organization does over 200 million. Over 200 million. Think about it. Now, for those, how many of you have never heard my story? How many? Okay, then I'm going to have to tell my story. Then you're going to have a perspective of what I just said. I'm going to drink my coffee too, so I can help wake up. Because when I saw this opportunity, I had a business that thrived for 10 years. Remember I said I did it as a hobby? And then what happened, how that changed and how I took network marketing serious was when I lost my business. I lost my major accounts and I didn't have any money coming in. So I lived under the false reality that we have security. And the only thing between you and that is 2 words: you're fired. And you lose it all, right? Okay. Or you get in a car wreck and you can't go to work anymore, right? Are they gonna still send you a check if that happens? No way. So we got to realize that next week things can change in our life, and that's what happened with me. And so what happened was when I went in search for the company because I knew that my only way out of that mess was network marketing. Because over the years I saw top achievers do incredible things, reach their dreams, incredible lifestyles, and yet, I was never committed. I wasn't on the field kicking the ball. I was in the stadium, sitting in the bleachers going, yeah, man, go, 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 right? And so now things had to change. The old saying, for things to change, we've got to what? Change. Yeah, for things to get better, we got to get what? That's right. That's what Jim Rohn said. And so that's what I realized. And so I went in search for the company, and then when I found David Elizabeth's company, I thought, wow, man, this is great. This is it. But yeah, it's great, but you're broke, man. What are you going to do? So then I was just focused on, oh man, my circumstances. I'm broke. I can't do anything. And when you think you can't do anything, what do? You don't do nothing. You just sit around thinking, I'm broke. And that's all I thought about. I'm broke. So I was depressed for a while. I just stayed, depressed and all that. And I can remember one day I was sitting on my porch and I was thinking, what am I going to do? I'm broke. And all of a sudden this voice just shouts out, says, shut up! We know you're broke. Now do something about it. And then that do something changed everything, because I looked out in the driveway and I saw the only thing that was left from my bankrupt company was a junk truck. The engine didn't start, tire was flat, kept the window rolled down so the neighborhood cat could sleep in it. That way I'd show God I was trying to do something good. Even a broke person can do that. And I called the junkyard man because I thought, that's my ticket, that's my way out. That junk truck is my way out. And I called the junkyard man and I said, will you come and look at this and tell me what you would give me? They came over and said, I'll give you $400. I said, take it. And I put $200 into groceries because I was getting very thin at the time. And then I put $200 into products. And that was how I began my business. Now that did not mean I was going to get a success in this, right? That was a start. That was a beginning. It was a chance. Now I had a chance. And I got busy. Now my sponsor knew I couldn't afford a phone bill, so he sent me a cell phone. And where I was, I couldn't get great reception, so I drove up in the hills of Tennessee. I can remember opening up the cattle gate door, driving my truck in there, closing it, getting my notes out on the hood, and I called people. And the hygiene in that office was not that great, because I had to watch where I walk. Because, when I talk on the phone, I'm just like talking, and I'm talking, I'm like, oh man. Cows are around, and everyone said, what is that? Oh, I'm out in the country, I like to do that. I like to clear my head, call my prospects, that's all. Anyway, and I make the appointments, right? Make the appointments. Go out and see the people. Go out and do meetings. And when I did these meetings, sometimes I didn't have the gas to get back. So I had to borrow some money from the leaders to get home, And I was behind on paying my utility bill for 3 months. I was behind paying my truck to the bank for 3 months. And one day I get up at the door, and I open it up, and there's this man. He said, sir, I'm here for the utility payment. I need to get a check from you. Oh yeah, okay. I said, I tell you what, my checkbook is out in the truck. Let's just go out there and I'll write you a check. It's out in the driveway. I walk out of my driveway, and then I look out in my driveway, and my truck is gone. It's gone. to beg to come and got it that morning, and I didn't know it. And I looked at him, I said, "Where's my truck? It's gone." And he looked at me and said, "Sir, you look like a man with problems." He cut off my electricity. And then this old man, this 80-year-old man, who was a retired engineer who loved multi-level marketing, as we called it back then, he said to me, he said, "I'll give you some money, and I got a car that I'm not using that you can use." Now this old man, he would follow me from company to company. Why? I have no idea. He believed in me for some reason. I have no idea. And he gave me this car that looked like it'd been in his family 4 generations. There was some paint left on it. And that was the car I was going to go around and sell success, right? Yes. And of course I would park it far from the eye, you know. And then just, you know, park down the street, go to the restaurant, meet with some people, do a meeting, you know. And, you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I can remember that one day after being gone a weekend, I came home, and there was 100 messages on my answering phone, on the answering machine, rather. And the leader looked at that, and he says, "Wow, 100 messages?" And it was all from my creditors. And he says, "What will you do?" And I thought about it. I said, "I'll show you." And I went over there, and I unplugged the machine, plugged it back in. I said, "Wow, look at that. Went back to 0. I fixed that problem. And, you know, in those days, you have to have a sense of humor, because if you don't, you're going to find a bridge and jump, you know? And I can remember when I had to go out and do a meeting. I had to go out all the way to Cincinnati from Alabama, right? And so this is going to be like an 8-hour drive. And so here I said, okay, I'm going to change the oil, and I'm going to head out. Change the oil, went down to a place, change the oil, get on the highway, and I'm moving. Well, what I didn't know was when they changed the oil, they didn't put the plug back. And so the oil's leaking out while I'm driving. And while I'm driving up the highway, I think, you know what? Everything's coming together now. I can see it now. My team is growing. My dreams are starting to come true. It's really going to happen. I'm going to get out of this hole. And I mean, my life is going to change for the better. And all of a sudden, boom, boom, bam, bam, and I'm on the side of the road. And then I'm doing this. You know what that is? Do they do that here? Okay, I don't know who invented that. But it works. You know? And even Facebook uses it. And, so the thing is, and a truck picked me up, and I remember going to an exit. I said, "Please take me to an exit where I can find a payphone booth." And so I get over there and call my dad, and I said, "This is bad. This is really bad." Because my family's been having meetings, and I didn't know about it. They weren't Amway meetings, okay? And they were having meetings. I had 2 brothers and a sister, all graduated from universities. My father graduated from a university, runs a company. Me, I went as far as high school. I was the black sheep in the family because none of it made any sense to me. My father always said I was he said I was unemployable. Unemployable, meaning that I didn't like to be. Did not like being told what to do. You know, I used to go work in his factory. You know, but the thing was, it just wasn't me. Of course, I didn't know exactly what the answer was, and I knew then finally it was network marketing. And so I called and so they're having these meetings, right? And here's the way the meeting is going. Wow, man, Jeff's business crashed and burned, and he's out of business. He lost his business, and now he's joined one of those pyramid schemes. His life is going down the toilet. What are we going to do? You know, it's that kind of thing. So now I'm calling him. The car's broken. Call him. I said, "Hey, Dad, I got to be at a meeting tonight. My car just broke down. I need a car. Can you help me out?" And I can remember what he said. He said, "Son, I think it's about time you get a job." But he gave me a car, and I still made it. Here's the thing. it was very, very, very hard to make this work. When people ask me the question, is it hard? I said, you don't even know what hard is, man. I said, of course it's hard. Because that's why only a small percentage get rich. You know why? Because they're the only ones willing to work. They're the only ones willing to pay the price. Why is it a small percentage in real estate get rich? Why is it a small percentage in any performance industry? I don't care what you call it, whether it's sports, music, stock market, whatever performance industry it is. Why is it only a small percentage get rich? Because only a small percentage will pay the price. And I can say that with great pride. And it should be that way. It should be that way. Now, I say to people, if you want easy, sure, we got easy. That's not a problem. We got easy. If you want to go out and sell product, or if you want to just sponsor a little bit, if you want to just make $1,000 a month, that's easy. That's easy. But where are you? What do you want to do? What exactly do you want? You know, what do you want out of an opportunity? What do you want out of your life? And while we're on that subject, I'll just share this. When you think about it, in Kuala Lumpur here, the working people, they have to get up early, right? If they have children, they got to get them to school, right? Then they have to fight all that traffic, go through all that traffic, breathe all that pollution, you know, go through all that just to what? Get to a job, to get to a job, right? And be paid very little, right? Very little. And then they'll turn around and fight that same traffic, that same pollution all the way home, or getting their kids and get home with enough time to spend a little time with their kids, eat something, watch something on TV for an hour, and then they go to bed and they repeat that process over and over and over again for 40 working years? For 40 working years? Is that easy? That's not easy, man. Matter of fact, that's a definition for insanity. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And yet they're willing to do that, and then they'll ask me if this is easy. Why is it that is so hard and they're going to do it, and the rules change, and when they join here, they say, "No, I want it to be easy." What? So I get people, when I talk to people about this, when I prospect people, I'm very direct and straight about that part, okay? Because I'm going to be honest with them. I don't want people thinking this is going to be easy and they're going to make big money. No. But here's the thing. The difference is this. That is not easy. It's hard. And guess what? It never changes. This is hard if you want the big money, but it gets easier and easier and easier and easier the more you do it. The more you do it. I can say that for a fact. Now, how much money did I start my business with? Does anybody remember? $200. You know what I've made in lifetime earnings? I had a network marketing online magazine interview me, Business for Home. And Ted asked me, how much have you earned total earnings in the company? And I said, I have no clue. And so I said, okay, I'll find out. And I called the company, and they said, well, the first 5 years we had a different software, and it'll take a while to get that answer, but we can tell you, the rest of the years that you've earned $20 million. $20 million. $200, $20 million. Is it worth it? Yes. Is it worth it? Paying the price. And yet if I would have stayed on the hamster wheel, you know how hamsters are. Yeah, they're busy. They're on the wheel. They're running. Some are in just regular steel cages. Some have golden cages. Some are doctors, lawyers, stockbrokers, whatever. They're on the wheel, man. Their children growing up, they don't even know who they are. They don't have time to enjoy their life. Maybe you like music. Maybe you have a gift, a talent in some field or something like that. I've got 3 CDs, original songs I've written on iTunes now. And that's something I love to do. I love to spend my time songwriting, getting together with my band. I love to do that. And but for all of you, there's things that you're really gifted at. But the people out there that are just like you and me, you know, they're on the hamster wheel. They're never going to be able to find out what their potential is. They're never going to be able to exploit their talents because they're too busy getting caught up making a living, and they have no life. No life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. And see, I couldn't live like that. And when I was younger, that's when my dad said I was unemployable. That's why I was, because I said there's something more to it. So I don't understand. Hamster wheel for 40 years, and then what? And then when you retire, you don't have health or much of a life left to even enjoy it. To me, that's a wasted life. I want to enjoy life when I'm young. And so since I've been involved in this company now 19 years, I've been able to travel the world. When I started in this company, I was single. And And so I had one attitude. I'll tell you, I had one attitude about it. And here was my thoughts. The only thing I want to do is get done. I just want to get done. You know what I mean by get done? In other words, people who will work 40 years just to make a living. I'm saying, why not take that 40 years and compress it in 5, and I'm done. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not still engaged. I'm here today, right? Okay, so I'm engaged. But am I running crazy like I did in the beginning? Of course not, because like I said, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. But I've skipped ahead in my story. I want you to know what the turning point was. Because it wasn't that way in the beginning. Like I said, it was hard. And I had every reason to quit. And just when I thought things were getting better, then boom, you know, I lose a car that was 4 generations. Felt bad for my friend, you know. I killed a car, you know. Killed his car. Anyway, but the turning point was this. Every Sunday, I would go down Dream Street. And actually, it was really Dream Streets in the plural. In the city, they had these, you know, it's an area where the rich people live. And they had these beautiful homes, what we call pre-Civil War homes. Homes built in the, you know, 1860s. And, you know, manicured lawns, like Gone with the Wind, the pillars and all that. And oh my gosh, you know. And I would just walk down those streets and just incredible wealth, just meticulously well done. Rhodes Gardens, perennial gardens, everything. And I would walk down those streets and I would think to myself, and I would do this every Sunday, as broke as I was, I would walk down these streets and I used to think, this is the way my life is going to be. This is how it's going to be realized. That house, yep, I'm going to have a house just like that. Those perennial gardens, those Rhodes Gardens, I'm going to have gardens just like that, and I'm going to have my own gardener. That BMW, that Mercedes in the driveway, yep, I have that too. And I would just walk around and visualize it and internalize it. And I kept doing that every Sunday. And if those people knew how broke I was, they'd probably call the police and have me hauled out of there. But I would do it every Sunday. Park my, you know, junky car. I wouldn't park it in their neighborhood, you know, it was down the road, but then I'd walk over there. But I did that every Sunday. And you know what? In 18 months, I was moving into one of those houses. In 18 months. Bought a beautiful Greek revival. Greek revival means they have the pillars out front. The house was built in 1860. I spent 8 years doing network marketing and restoring that house because it had been neglected over 50 years inside. Outside it looked beautiful, inside it needed work. And I restored that. Matter of fact, it was interesting because years after that, when I came overseas here and I was working in Asia, when I went back to the United States, I visited that town. I wanted to see my old house. And I remember going into a souvenir shop where they have books and things like that. And they had historic homes of South Carolina. And when I opened it up, there was my house, and they talked about Altgilbers. Incredible. And I didn't even know that book existed, but they talked about how I restored that beautiful home. So here's the thing. My life changed for a number of reasons. What do we learn from that? Number one, I had, poor circumstances, right? I did not have resources. I did not have money when I started. So when I had somebody message me the other day, from the Philippines, I didn't even know who it was, and they said, "Oh, sir, will you pay my way into this business? I don't have any money." Well, I'm the wrong guy to say that to, man. I'm the wrong guy. Then I gave her my junk truck story. I said, "Look, I don't feel sorry for you. And I'll tell you what, if you don't put something into this, you won't do anything. You will never perform if you don't have skin in this game." But circumstances I did not have. So I had every excuse to remain as I was. How many of you heard of the law of attraction? Law of attraction says, whatever you think about most, that's what you attract. So if we think, I'm broke, you're going to stay broke. That's the way it works. If we think about what we want, I want success, I want to be successful, I want to have a great team, then that's what you're going to have. You're going to have whatever you think about, because that's what you're going to gravitate to. Just like every Sunday, I say, yes, this is the way my life's going to be. This is the way my life's going to turn out. See, I never read the book Secret. I never read that book, The Secret. I have it on my phone, and I listen to it when I drive, even today. But back then, I didn't have the book. I didn't know anything about the law of attraction. I just sort of landed on it. And that's what I thought about, every Sunday. This is the way my life's going to turn out. That's exactly the way it turned out. See, I'll tell you, what's holding most of us back is ourselves. It's our own negativity. We're so busy thinking about what we don't want, and that's why we don't get it. We don't get what we want. But I'm jumping ahead. I'm going to get into that in a second. And so, I'm going to cap this one. It works again later. So, that's my story, and I wanted to share that with you. And really, it's interesting that when we think about dreams, I'm going to get it. We hear, have a dream. You'll have dreams. Once you have your dream, you know what? You don't dream for it anymore. Once you have your dream, you don't hope for it anymore. Then what's left? Because, here, I capped it. Now I need it. I'm going to bring American pins next time. Man, they make you work for it. Here. Okay. S. This is the process that some of us go through. And that is, in this S here, we want security. So, sure, in the beginning, we do want that because we want to be able to pay the bills. And in my case, I didn't want the creditors coming around, right? And that's okay. In the business, we're focused on that. We are focused on, getting our money where we have enough money coming in so that we can take care of our families. That makes sense. The other S here is success. Success. And that is, just like me, when I walked down Dream Street, I wanted the house of my dreams. I wanted the car of my, the car of my dreams, right? We want the 5-star or even 7-star lifestyle, right? That's success. And we go through this process of trying to get there. Obviously, there's going to be resistance between security and success, right? There's going to be resistance because you're going to have to go through rejection. You're going to have to go through disappointments, and it's going to test who you are as a leader. And if you're not a leader, man, you're not getting there. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But once we do that, Then we strive for something else. And that's a life of significance. Significance. If you can't read that, that's okay. I can't read my handwriting either. But believe it or not, that word says significance. And that's really hard to get to. That's hard to get to. There's a lot of resistance between success and significance because that's where, again, when you get what you hope for, you don't hope for it no more. When you get what you dream for, you dream of it no more. Now, hopefully, we will still want the things that we already have, or we'll want those things. That's called an attitude of gratitude. Hopefully, if we got a measure of health, thank God for it. If our children got a measure of health, thank God for it. If we have a beautiful place, thank God for it, right? See, an attitude of gratitude, that's important to have. But again, if a house and cars, if that's all we ever wanted, then that's gonna affect our performance. Because now, we're just not going to perform like we did. But here's the other thing too. Hopefully once we get the houses and the cars out of the way and all that, you are going to find what you really want in life. What's most important to you as a person. What you're really centered on. And that hopefully that's going to be a life of contribution. Because a lot of people are focused on what can I get? What can I get? They're not thinking about what can I give? What can I give? See, it's a whole different mindset. And when we get to a life of significance, then we've really arrived. We've really arrived. And I've seen some great leaders get there. And they don't spend their time focused on themselves. They really spend their time really helping others in their business. Like that's why I'm here today. And then also things that you can contribute to with your money. You know, if you're broke, you can't contribute to nothing. You know, some people think, well, I don't want to make money because if I make money, then I'm not a spiritual person. Excuse me? Abraham was rich. Job was rich. Joseph of Egypt, he was the number 2 richest person in the whole world. You know, the Egyptians were a world power at one time. They were the world power. And Joseph was number 2. He was a lot richer than Donald Trump. Okay? So people been programmed incorrectly. You know what I'm saying? Just understand, we all have been programmed that way. How to view money and things like that. But when you're wealthy, you can contribute to a lot of people in need. I'm not talking about lazy people. I'm talking about things where people cannot help themselves. You can make a difference. So, that's the thing. The 3 S's, security, success, significance, and then how it can change our life, in this business. And that's the process we all go through. And hopefully, and again, there's resistance. There's resistance in success, getting there. There are going to be people trying to hold you back. Hold you back. I used to be married to one. No, I'm joking. Actually, my former wife, we're good friends, but she hated network marketing. She really did. I can remember when I bring her to a convention, I'd get around the leaders, first thing she'd do, go, can we get out of here now? Embarrass me, So, and I don't mind talking about it too, because we had a very civil party, because when I wanted to go to Asia and work, and I follow my dream, because after I got my house, after I got the cars, you know what I said? I don't want this right now. I got it. It was beautiful, and I enjoyed it for 8 years. You know what? I want to travel. I want to travel. And that was my desire, to see the world, get out there and see the world. And I wanted to build a business, and that's what I did. And then, of course, after I became a great success, then she was interested in me again. So, but me and Michelle, we've been married now over 10 years now, and so great. We have a great marriage, great, beautiful children, and she's here supporting me, which is wonderful. And makes a big difference in my life. So now, here's the thing. You leaders, I'm going to look at my timeline too. Who's that? Oh, you're recording me. Uh-oh, I'm busted now. I didn't know he was recording me. Here's the thing that I want you leaders to do. I want you to think about this. Again, we go back to this. Where are you in the timeline? You know, don't be back in 1978 and have a product mentality. Think about the McDonald's brothers. Who made McDonald's famous? Was it the McDonald brothers? No, they're Ray Kroc. You know the story, okay? Because Ray had the franchise mentality. And see, that's, you know, so some of you have heard me say this before, I'll say it again. Sell the franchise, don't sell the burger. Sell the franchise, don't sell the burger. Sell the business, don't sell the product. I'm not saying, it's okay if you want to sell some product, okay? I can tell you, honestly, I've never sold a bottle. In the 19 years I've been with 4Life, I've never sold a bottle. Number one, I never considered myself a good salesman. Number two, I hate selling. I mean, really. I mean, I'm a promoter. And see, network marketing is about promoting what you love, what you're passionate about. People will follow that passion. And they'll join you. And then we all buy direct from the company, right? We're all eating the same product. We're using it. That's what we do. That's what we do. I teach people to be consumers, man, not salespeople. I said, build a business. Think about it. My network, I get paid out of 56 countries. I didn't know anybody outside the United States when I started. 56 countries, ordering $200 million a year. You know, I do much more volume than a lot of companies out there. And I never see one product go out. I don't see anything go out. The only thing I see is I get some kind of notification on my phone from a bank. They pay me out. What? Thank you, God. That's right. That's right. We used to say the only work we did, you know, was signing the backs of our checks. We don't even do that anymore. You know, making a deposit. We don't even do that anymore. So get the right mindset. Get the mindset of a builder. And, okay. Now, here's the other thing. For those of you that are willing to commit, are you willing to commit to being a builder? Yes. Build an organization. Build an organization. You build an organization, you can move a lot of product. I couldn't sell $1,000 a month, but you know, my team will almost order 20, some months they get close to 20 million life points. Crazy. Crazy. So get that mindset. Have a sense of how many of you think you could sponsor 30 people this month? I'm enjoying this. Think about that while I drink this. How many of you think you can sponsor 30 people? See, no one wants to raise their hand because they say, if I raise my hand, then I got to do it, man. And if I don't do it, then I'm going to look like a fool. Okay. Let me ask you this. If I'm willing to give you a 2017 5 Series BMW, how many of you think you could sponsor 30 people this month? Now look at the hands. What's the difference? Before you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it before. Now all of a sudden you can do it. What changed that? Motivation. Motivation changed that. See, that's what's holding a lot of you back. You know, I'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm going to get more into that in just a little bit. But I want you to remember that because I'm going to bring that up. So then here's the thing. What is holding you back from doing a lot of that? I find that when I travel and I talk to leaders, I find the biggest reason is that we keep track too much of our disappointments and our failures in this business, and we let it weigh us down. We're trying to run a race to achieve our financial dreams, right? We're in this race just like in the Olympics, right? And could you ever imagine those people just putting weights on their legs, weights on their legs, weights on their legs? How could they ever compete if they did? And yet that's what a lot of us do. You know, we just keep track of it. We prospect somebody, they say no. Oh man, they said no. Man, I was really hoping he was going to do this. Oh, he didn't do it. Oh man, what am I going to do? You know? Okay, so it's negative energy, right? And then what do? We go to another person, same thing. And then we start thinking, okay, I got a 3 o'clock. I'm gonna go see her. Okay. She's probably not gonna join. Of course, you go there. Of course, she's not gonna join. You already made up your mind. She's not gonna join. Right? The law of attraction. You get what you expect, right? See, here's the thing. I used to say go for no, but I don't say that. I say go for yes. But don't be bothered by no's. My sponsor told me to go out and get 100 no's. I said, 100 no's? That's negative, man. He said, no, it's not negative, it's positive. I said, how's it positive? He said, by the time you get to the 100th no, you're going to be a very rich man. I said, really? He said, yeah, of course. All right. Then I thought, well, I guess I shouldn't be bothered by rejection then. You see that? See, he was tricking me. He was getting that in my head, right? I just didn't know it. So good programming. And so I can remember when I went to this one guy, he is a networker, and I gave him some information, I followed him up, and I went back to see him. And here's how he responded to me. He was arrogant. He said, oh, well, if you think that I'm your man, and I'm going to make you rich. Yeah. And then when he was saying that, I was, really? Really? I was smiling. And he couldn't understand why I was smiling. And he said, why are you smiling? I said, well, I was told by my sponsor if I went out and got 100 no's, I'd be a very rich man. You put me that much closer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then he said, oh, well, I really didn't say no. I mean, could you explain it again to me? And then I went, got a little time. Yeah. You know, I don't apologize to anybody for what I do or for my opportunity or anything. I proudly say I'm in network marketing. That's my profession. I'm a professional network marketer. That's what I am. And I don't apologize for it, you know. I'm very proud of it. And when people see that in you, when they see that you're not hungry, that's the problem. Some leaders go out there, they're so hungry. They want to get the sale. They want to try to get, you got to buy 400 life points. You know what I'm saying? They're just trying to melt that person. That's never a productive situation. It never is. I really don't care how the person joins. I really don't. I mean, I want them to experience for life, okay? I do want them to start with enough products that they can experience for life. It's hard to do that on 2 bottles of Transfer Factor Plus. So they don't know what Ria Vita tastes like. They don't know what the other products are like. So I want them to start off with enough products so they can get an experience and get the family involved. The wife needs to be involved. The children need to be involved. Our 9-year-old son, he's so critical of food and drink or anything. He doesn't have a very open mind, but he loves Ria Vita. He loves the chewables. And it's hard to get kids to, they won't swallow pills, right? Your parents know what I'm talking about. So that's what I'm saying. We want families to experience this, experience for life. But the thing is, so it's not to me. I don't insist. My main motivation is to serve. My main motivation is to give value to a person, not what I can get out of a person, not so they can help me get ranked. I don't like using people. Leaders do that. Leaders will do that, and they'll call down to their downlines and say, "Hey, you need to buy up so I can rank up." No, we shouldn't do that. We should never use our people either that way. I've seen people do it. And but going back then to this, how we feel about rejection. You see how you should feel about it? Feel good about it. Don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid of, and you know what? I find that many times when you get rid of that fear, it's never a no. You can get them to use the products, or sometimes it's just bad timing. They're going through something in their life, and we just caught them at a bad time. Say, you know what, maybe this is bad timing. You mind if I get back with you in a couple of months from now? And they generally, in most cases, they'll, get back with me in a couple of months. And then make a note of it. Put it where you'll find it. I used to have index cards, and I'd file it into another month. Pull them out that month when the month begins. Lay out the cards. That was the old way of doing it. That was the cheap way of doing it. And now you can use iPads and things like that. But then I would get back with those those individuals, and many times I would find receptive people ready to join or ready to buy products. So Let me look for another. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to go back to that about negative experiences. So the problem with what really weights down a lot of leaders is they keep track of all those negative experiences. And here's the thing. Once they do that, it starts building what in them? A belief. What kind of belief? That this doesn't work. And when this doesn't work, and they finally have convinced themselves of that, what do? They quit. There's different ways to quit. You can quit by activity, or just, you're not out there doing anything anymore. You can quit that way. Or you can just, finally just disappear. And that's what happens with groups. And it can affect your downlines. So here's the thing. We got to watch ourselves. We got to watch ourselves. And the kind of beliefs that we are building. There's a certain psychology of success that we have to master. And that's emotional and mental psychology. How we feel about things. How we think about things. And when I got rejected, I understood they're not rejecting me. Some will, some won't. And some shouldn't. And so what? Some we don't want. If I got to get them dressed up every day, if I got to convince them every day that they need to do this business, I don't want them. I don't want them. If they can't do it for themselves, then they're not going to do it for me. I don't want them. Because they're going to I'm going to spend time with the wrong person. And we heard the 80-20% rule, right? That 20%, or let me back up, 80% of your organization will produce 20% of the activity. 20% of your organization is going to produce 80% of the activity. That's right. Those are your leaders. But most people will spend 80% of their time with the 80%ers trying to convince them to go to work and why they need to do this, and they neglect their leaders. Big mistake. It's a big mistake. So that's what we have to do. We have to understand that this isn't going to be easy, this journey toward success and significance, but it's worth it. It's worth it. We're going to have resistance. We're going to have disappointments. We get, too many times the leaders want to, and that is they need to make their list of prospects. And then you need to go over that list with them. If you can get a copy of that list, that's even better. And of course, they're going to add to that list, and they can update you the list. And then you can go over on that list, who would be the A, B, C type people. A being the best. People that like to make money. People that are hungry for success. B, you're not so sure, they might be. And if it doesn't work out, they'd be, a customer. C, definitely a customer. And then that's what we're going to do. And keep in mind, when you make that list, a lot of people teach your leaders this because they'll discriminate the list. They will. They'll say, well, he's a lawyer and he's already got money, so he won't be interested in this. Oh, she's a businesswoman. She's got her a shop and all that. She's too busy for this. Let me tell you, busy people know how to do multiple things, and it's all about who you know. It's not about an issue of time. They can pick up the phone and say, hey, I just found something. It's incredible. A lot of money's going to be made. Are you in or are you out? And then the only thing they're saying is, I'm in. What do I do? Come over to your place, sign the application? They don't even know the name of the company. That's right. I can tell you, that's called influence. Leadership is influence. I have two men, we don't have the platinums in here in the pictures, but I have two men that are platinums. The one with the white beard, if you remember, I call them the ZZ Top Plats. Okay? And let me tell you, they made platinum in 1 year. How is that possible? How is that possible? Well, because they're in a church ministry. Guess what? They're connected to people throughout South America and all the church, the pastor, whatever. They're heavily connected. They just pick up the phone, say, I found something. It's incredible. A lot of money is going to be made. Are you in or are you out? Oh, I'm in. Send me the application. See, but because that person has so much credibility, of course they know they wouldn't get involved in something that's, unethical, something like that. They already know it's credible. They don't need to know all the details. I'm in. See, I can remember doing that. I had a friend back in the 80s call me about a company. And he makes a lot of money. And he called me and said, hey, I got something to show you. And then my first question was, is money to be made? He said, lots of money is to be made. I said, well, you better get over my house in a hurry then. And that's all I said. He came over and signed me up. I bought $5,000 of product just like that. I didn't even question it. It's true. Then he brought me to an opportunity meeting. I'll never forget it. So I'm just saying, that's the way it is. So we got to understand, try to feel good when things go wrong. Losing my business was the best thing that ever happened to me because it forced me to take network marketing serious. And I'm glad I lost that business. If I didn't, I'd still be back there on the hamster wheel, doing the same old thing. But put that agreement, make that business plan. Put it together with them. Because then it gets them more committed. And you can also review it with them. When they're not performing like they said, hey, John, hey man, I noticed that, you didn't make your appointment. Is everything okay? Yeah. Okay, so you still committed to your dreams, the things that we talked about. Is that your commitment? Okay, stuff happens, man. So can we just plan on another day and we'll go meet those people? How about that? You know what I mean? We don't chastise them, okay? See, that's the thing. We don't do that. Now, Sherilyn, I think, is it time for a break? No? Maybe not? Do you guys want a break yet?
Okay.
All right, we're going to do a break, and then I'm going to go on with some notes. I'm going to talk about goal setting. I'm going to talk about social media, how to use Facebook, how to prospect, a lot of good things. So let's meet back in here, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? 10 minutes? He says 5 minutes. He pees quicker, that's all. For women, it's a longer line. We'll be merciful. We will be merciful to the women. 10 minutes.
We will be back. See you later. Hey
All you have
friend,
great
Jay will come
potential.
back again, so let's listen to his training.
But then why is it only a few succeed? And this is you. And that's the circle that, not everybody, I say you, doesn't mean it's really you, but I mean, most people operate in that circle. And so, but that's your potential. Your potential is this, but how we operate is in that. That's called a comfort zone. And we stay in that comfort zone because it's safe. It's safe. We can't get hurt there. You know how you cannot fail in this business? Don't do anything. And you won't fail. I promise you. Yeah, that's guaranteed, man. I got the secret to not failing. Don't do anything. But then we have nothing, right? We'll have nothing in our life if we do that. So life is a game of risks, right? Okay, the one thing that's for sure, and I talked about this earlier about disappointments we go through. And again, that's another reason why we stay there, is because we don't want to go through disappointments. I can tell you that when I got started, progressively, I talked about the years I got started with FLP. There was I didn't take you through the whole journey, but I'm going to take you through another part of it. But in those years, in the 1988 until the time I found For Life, I went through about 7 companies. Yeah, even one of them, I was the top leader in that company, and it was a binary compensation plan. It was a telecom deal. That's what we were doing, and I can remember going down to the home office, and they had software issues. I went into one room that was about this size, and there was boxes everywhere I could see, and I said, "What's that?" And they said, "That's the applications that we're waiting to enter." And I thought, really? I knew we were in trouble then. Okay. And then of course they paid me, but my downline, they were saying, "Hey, you're going to get your commission check soon, blah, 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 blah." I can remember getting on the conference call and telling, one night I told everybody, it's over. It's over. If you send in any applications, credit cards, stop it, checks, put a hold on it, whatever, it's over. Nobody liked hearing that, and I certainly didn't like saying it. And it didn't make me popular with some for telling the truth. And then the owner the next night does a conference call and says I was a liar, that that it's not over, blah, blah, blah. But 2 months later, he was out of business. Yeah, that's right. You talk about disappointments. That was a horrible disappointment to go through something like that. And I had great leaders in that company. Well, I looked around to see, who's still alive, throw them over my back. We'll go into the next company. And that's what we did. Went into the next company. Same thing. Bust. A lot of people were hurt over it. Throw them over my back, go into another company. I mean, how many of you ever heard of Monavie? Let's by a show of hands, Monavie. Where's Monavie today? It's gone. It's gone. Yeah, Vima last year, they were a thriving company. Gone. Gone. That's right. See, those were the experiences I went through. And I'll tell you what, I could have drew the conclusion network marketing just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Because look what happens. You put your heart and your soul into it, you put all that time and work, and then this happens. And I had great leaders in those companies, great leaders. They were great. But by the time I found For Life, they were so beat up and dead, I had to start all over again at zero. At zero. I had nobody to go in that company with. Yeah, it was tough. Those days were really tough. Just starting over again. It seemed like that's what we were doing. And I can remember that when For Life came around, I was out of wind. My attitude was very beat up. I had heard, matter of fact, they called me, this one executive in For Life, when they were getting started. I had worked with him in a former company back in the early 90s. I think it was 1992. And he called me and left a message. Jeff, you need to call me back. Company is going to start. It's called For Life Research. And they got this product called Transfer Factor. It's Dave Elizabeth's company. I thought, no. I'm not calling you back. Nobody. I didn't call him back. It's true. And so finally I had some other people calling about, testimonies about Transfer Factor. They wanted to share it with me and all that. And then I thought, well, they can't all be liars. And then finally, I heard a friend of mine, he's a hippie kid. You know what I mean by a hippie, long hair? A hippie kid. We never worked together in a company before, but, we were good friends. So I heard he joined For Life, and I called him. His name was Mark McCarty. I called Mark McCarty. I said, Mark, are you going to do For Life? He said, yeah, I'm going to do it. You want to do it? Oh, no, I don't know, Mark. I really don't know. That was my attitude. And again, keep in mind, it was tough because just prior to that phone call, a company I had been in 5 years changed the compensation plan. Yeah, our checks crashed to nothing. And then what happened was, then I went into, I didn't touch my leaders over there, but I started with new leaders in another company out of Canada. It was a binary company. It was a drink, a health drink. I got it up to $10,000 US a month, really fast. And I thought, boy, I sure hope this lasts. Then one night they announced they're changing the compensation plan. Checks crash. That's never happened in For Life. It's never, ever happened in the 19 years I've been in this company. But right before I was introduced to For Life, that's what happened. So that was my feelings, my attitude. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. That's my programming. See, we get these negative experiences, then we build these beliefs in ourselves, and then that's how we perform. That's how we view things. That's how we see it. It may not be the way it is, and it wasn't. That's the way I saw it. Nothing lasts. Nothing lasts. So, For Life can't last. And so it affects our performance because we're afraid of what? Because we stay in the comfort zone. That's safe. I don't want to give too much. If I give too much, I'm going to be hurt. And I don't want to be hurt because I can't handle being hurt. And so when I asked Mark when he was talking about Transfer Factor, I said, well, what? I said, your company is For Life. Your product's name is Transfer Factor. Do you know how weird of a name of a product that is? Why do you call it that name? And he said, I don't know. And I said, well, what does it do? What is it? He said, well, I don't know. I just signed up. God's going to be my sponsor, right? Do you realize how bad it's getting? Okay, so I came here to give you hope. Anyway, but the thing is, so he gave me an 800 number. It was a hotline. Dr. Rod Robertson would explain the transfer factor, how it worked. I called it, listened to it, because I thought, herbs, vitamins, minerals, everybody's selling the same thing. I heard that message. I called him back. I said, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And he said, so you ready to get signed up? And I said, let me think about it. And then the house I lived in, old house, so I went out and I started painting. Now, it wasn't because the house needed painting that I was painting, even though it really did. I was painting for therapy. And I can remember being out there on the ladder, just painting, and all I could think is, I hate network marketing. All these leaders are dogs. They all lie. Everyone lies. Everyone lies. See, that's the thinking. That's the thinking going on in my head. Because of what? Past experiences. Negative experiences. Here we get in a company. Oh, our dreams are going to come true. Boom. Then the leaders are laying there. Who's alive? Who's alive? Okay, no man left behind. Here, let's go into another company. Man, we did that 7 times. 7 times. And I'll tell you, and it's always, and that's the thing. And those people, they're still not over it. Yeah, 19 years ago, I'm saying, come on, guys. This is it. Oh, no, man. I'm hurting. They're still hurting. They're still licking their wounds. They don't get over it. See, because they're staying there. And then they're saying, how do I pay bills this month? Well, we can't go on a vacation this year. Wow, I guess, wow. I'd like to go out to a restaurant this weekend, but we can't afford it. See, that's the life inside the circle. That's the comfort zone. Can't. And that's the thing. And I remind my wife, because Michelle would always be a conscientious purchaser when it comes to price and things like that. And she, many times we have this conversation. And we're looking at something really nice, and she said, wow, that's expensive. And I always say back to her, what? Now, if you can afford it. It's not expensive if you can afford it. That's right. That's right. When we found, when we moved back to the United States and got our beautiful house, you know what? It was really cool to write a check and pay cash for it. It's pretty cool. No doubt. But that's the thing. And so finally, I'm out there painting with all that negativity. And then Mark's partner, Dave Daughtry, calls me and says, hey, are you ready to get started? And I said, soon. And then I go back to pain. He called me, same thing, same conversation. I say, soon. Call me again, soon. Okay? And then he goes to Mark and says, I don't think he's ever going to get started. He said, no. He's just angry. He's going to get through it. He's going to start. So then one day, Dave calls me up. It's December 31st, 1998. And he says, are you ready to get started? I said, Dave, I'll get started January 2nd. New Year's night, I'm going to go out and drink. And what did I do that night? I went out there and partied and drank, and I thought, I hate network marketing. I really hate it. I hate it. And I hate the people too. I hate those owners of those companies. And so finally then the next day, I thought, oh, wow. January 2nd, and when January 2nd came, that morning I thought, I can't believe I'm going to do this. I can't believe it. I think I need a psychologist. I need some real serious help. I need help, man. I need serious help. Anyway, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do this again. So, and I got to start at ground zero. That's right. Disappointments, negative program. And I'll tell you what, and then, so I busted it. And in 90 days, put in new people, and In 90 days, we put 800 people in the business. 800 people. So the thing was, I had to be willing to change. I had to be willing to change. And so at the same time, I had to use personal growth to get me out of that negative mindset. What is personal growth? Personal growth is information, the influences, the mentors that we're going to have in our life, either directly or by book, and that could be audiobook, okay? Information that we're going to put in our head that's positive, it's life-changing, and it's going to give us the direction that we need. And if you read some of John Maxwell's books, then he's got great books as far as personal growth to help you with your personal growth journey. I highly recommend you read those. I had the privilege to be with him 2 months ago in Atlanta, Georgia, and do a training with him. And so, it was just awesome to be around him. But you must get involved in personal growth, because I can remember I was listening to Anthony Robbins. He's one of my other mentors. And every morning I would do that, and I would take notes. I'd listen to the audio program, and I would take notes. Okay, man, get it in my head. Then I'd go exercise, get going, and that was it. That was the turning point. That was such a turning point in my business. So you have to get personal growth in your head. That's the only way to get you out of negativity. Because again, it's human nature to downgrade, but when you can play the leadership role and upgrade your life, what a difference it makes. But that was the thing. And so we busted it hard. But I'll tell you what, after 90 days, guess what? Disappointment hit me again. One of my biggest leaders left me. Yeah, left me, man. Wow. And my biggest leg, they went after the money games. Those people are nowhere today. Nowhere. And it's funny, then when I had a conversation with them about this, they say, oh, you got lucky. I got lucky? No, I didn't quit. That was it. You quit. That's right. But they quit. And when they quit me, I had a choice. Maybe I should quit. I just lost some of the leaders of my biggest leg. Well, you know what I did? I worked with whoever they left behind. Guess what? It was one lady. She became a Gold International Diamond. That's right. That's right. But again, it wasn't a pleasant experience. But at the same time, after I got my check stable, then we didn't own the patents to transfer factor. It was 2 doctors who did. And because Dave Leslie saw their research and saw what they had, and that was how he began the company. He was getting it from them. Well, guess what? I also thought, and again, I'm going back to my thinking, past companies, failure, maybe this will fail. So I said to Dave Doctor, you know what? They can give the transfer factor at Herbalife. They can give it to anybody they want. How do we know we got a company? You know what? I'm going to go up in the mountains. There's a cabin up there. I'm going to stay up there and I'm going to fish for a while. I'm not going to do anything more with this right now. And that's what I did. Went up there 6 months. 6 months. Stayed there, and my checks kept coming, getting bigger, and all that. That was good. And then finally came back to South Carolina. It was about another 6 months, didn't do a lot. And then finally, David Lisby bought out the patent holders. They agreed to sell it. And I said, now we got a company. And so that was good. Then we go to convention. Later we go to convention, 300 people in the room. Then this doctor gets on stage and he introduces this crazy product. And I absolutely hated this product when he did that. It's called Transfer Factor Plus. How dare he do that? Does he realize what we did with Transfer Factor? What is that? They didn't have any testimonies, nothing. He's just dumping on us, Didn't prepare us. And I told my sponsor, Dave Doctor, I said, don't you ever promote that product. Not to my team. We're the Transfer Factor company. Let's get Dano Plus. And so then, and the company sales did go down. They did go down. And then David Lisby asked me one day, he said, oh, well, why is that? How does that happen? I said, because you just blew us out. We don't know anything about this product. And then finally, a few months later, testimonies started coming in like crazy about this product. Then we realized that was the correct product. It's just they launched it wrong. They should have prepared us for it. They didn't. Okay? So they learned a lesson from that. But, you know, and then we realized that's our flagship product. Well, then, you know what, and during that period, I wasn't doing anything with 4Life. Because again, I was like, you know, what is this? What is this? This plus stuff. And anyway, and so then once we saw what it was, then I got back in the saddle, started working it again. Now during that period of years, I was qualified as a presidential diamond. Presidential, okay? Now I hit international diamond, but I rolled back, right? And the reason was because we got blocked so easily by presidentials, the compensation plan didn't pay that deep. It's not the plan that you got now, okay? And so you know, you can make maybe $10,000 a month. That was about it. And I was sick of making $10,000 a month. I was sick of it because in the other companies I was making $10,000 a month. And then I told David Elizabeth, I wrote him a letter. I said, you know what? I said, I've been making $10,000 a month in other companies for years, but I said, but look, I said, if for us to attract leaders to our company, we're going to have to create $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month stories. And you can't do that with this pay plan. It doesn't pay deep, and then we got no incentive to work deep with any of our leaders. And then he took it to heart, and then they announced a compensation plan change coming. They spent 6 months on it because they said they don't want to make any more changes after it. Because again, they don't like making changes. They know the impact it can do to an organization. But obviously this was going to be a very positive one. And so they made the changes, and that was like in my fifth year, yeah. And again, you know, during that time, you know, we couldn't increase our income. I had 3 legs going because I always believed in 3 legs. And then my sponsor said, well, go out and build 3 more. I said, you're crazy, man. You know how hard it was to build 3 legs? Maintain 3 legs? Let me see you go do it. Okay? Because Mark Yarnell of New Skin taught, you know, most of your income is going to come from 1 to 2 legs. He's right. Dexter Yeager, most of his income comes from Amway. He's the #1 world income earner in network marketing. Okay? Comes from 1 to 2 legs. I knew that. So 3 was enough for me. And when that new compensation plan went into place, I was an instant gold. You know, that was interesting. But the thing about it is, what I'm saying is we go through these disappointments. We go through things that, that we don't like. And then when we change, then things happen. Okay, so that was the thing I just wanted to share. The one thing I want to share also for you, how many diamonds do we have in the audience? Diamonds, 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 diamonds. Okay, very good. How many presidentials do we have in the audience? Presidentials. Okay, very good, very good, very good. What is the one club that you diamonds and you presidentials need to be in right now? The elite club, very good. And the elite club is great because that's going to transition you into what? President's Club. President's Club. Exactly. Exactly. Because it's going to create solid positions. And that's really what you want. You know, because I see, when I travel around the world, I see some people try to buy up into the rank, or their upline says, hey, you guys buy up, because if you buy up, I'll do this or that for you. You know what I mean? That's manipulation, not good. I love the elite club concept, and I'm really excited about it. I'm glad to hear that you are. So let's talk about goal setting. And here's what we want to do when we talk about goal setting. When we talk about goal setting, we don't want to just use or shoot out vague goals, like I want to be a platinum, okay? Yeah, sure, everybody wants to be a platinum, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sure. And actually, when I started out in 4Life, I didn't want to be a platinum because the position didn't exist, right? And so, how I realized, when the position did exist, I knew one thing. I had 3 legs, and what does it take to make platinum? 3 goals, right? That's right. And if you want to be a gold, you have to have 3 what? IDs, that's it. So it's all about driving your team. Now, I'm not saying take a whip and beat your team. I'm talking about you get there and work with them, right? But we got to drive our team. We got to set those goals. A lot of people set like a 5-year goal, where they want to be financially, maybe, own the house of their dream, whatever that is. And then we have our 1-year goals. But, the most important goals are going to be your monthly goals. What do you want to achieve? Like, let's just say in the next 90 days, and you should do that. You know, even if you've been in this business for 1, 2, 3 years, whatever, you know, every now and then set a 90-day goal plan where you want to be in your business. And it's very important that you talk to your leaders and see where they want to be in this business. And then break it down to, what are you going to do? For example, September's coming up, right? September. What do you want to do in the month of September? How many people can you and your leaders prospect and sponsor? How many ranks can you break? And help your leaders to break rank. You know, if you want to drive your legs deep, that's the thing. Goal set. Get excited about it. That's the thing that we have to do. And we have to do that with our leaders. And then, besides, you know, setting a goal for the month of, for example, September, first week of September, what are you going to do? What are the goals for that week? See, break it down to that. And then, you know, if Sunday night, you could start taking notes on what you want to do when you hit the floor Monday. What are we going to do that? Who are you working with that week? Talk to your leaders. Get them committed. Remind them of their dreams. That business agreement, you know, that maybe that you made with them. And if you didn't make one with them, but you already know them, talk to them about it. Talk to them about what their dreams and what they want to achieve, and say, this is it. I really want to help you. I really value you as a leader. You're very important to me. You really are, man. Let's do this. And be serious. Be sincere about it. And they'll respect you for it. But get them going and start setting those goals. The other thing is, we want to teach people how to learn the skill set. The skill set is how to prospect. Who to prospect. When you bring a new person in, make that list. If you've been in for a while, do you still have a list? Do you still have, you know, I got my original prospect list and I still look at it. It's 19 years old. It's yellow, you know. It's yellow. The pages are yellow and I still look at it, you know. And it's interesting. I was at an event in Texas where they had top income earners. We were asked to come in and speak and do a training where people, any network marketing company could come to it. And I was asked to go speak to it because they just wanted top income earners from different companies. It's funny. One of the guys that is one of the speakers, he's on my list. You know, and I never got to him. Yeah, I chastised myself over that. And he chose a not so good company, but that's okay. Maybe later on we'll be doing business. And that's what I always think about that. But the thing about it is, make sure that you got that list. Make sure they have that list. Don't discriminate. Put everybody on that list. Talk to them about their list of names and the people that they have, their prospect list, and then just get out there and start working with those leaders. So, then we also need to teach them how to invite. One mistake that I see that a lot of new people make is that when they make that prospect list, they'll call that friend without their sponsor, or see that friend without their sponsor, and they don't know what they're talking about. And then they start talking about, it's a network marketing company, a lot of money's going to be made, and they're like, no. See, they just don't have the experience. So when you teach your leaders, when they prospect people, don't go alone. Don't do it alone. Do it with an experienced leader. Because it'll be done right if you bring that leader with you. It'll be explained. They'll teach them how to do it. Matter of fact, the sponsor should be the one doing the prospecting. That new leader just needs to shut up and listen. And that's what they need to do for a while until they learn how to explain the compensation plan. And again, don't get into the details. Nobody cares. I don't even look at the compensation plan. When I look at the compensation plan, I get dizzy. Oh man, all that crazy stuff, man. Arrows going everywhere, you know? You know, it's crazy. So here's the thing. Here's what I understood when I joined. 3 legs, build 3 legs. That's how you get to the plan, the top of the plan. That's what I need to know. I sponsored 72 people in 2 years. After that, I didn't need to sponsor anymore. Then I worked through my leaders to sponsor. I helped them get their people. That's right. Out of 72 people, 3 took it seriously. 3 took it seriously. Now, if I had to sponsor 150 to get my 3, I would do that. But it only took me 72. For you, it might take 50. For you, it might take 200. For you, it might take 500. But if you could make $20 million, would you do it?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. That's what you got to think about. See, and that's the frustrating thing. Again, belief, what's really frustrating, it's like finding a pearl in an oyster, right? There's the barrel, right? What's really frustrating is you see a leader go up, pearl, pearl, pearl. Thank you, God. Then you go up, nothing, 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 nothing. Man. And then you got to go, what? 97 to find the 3? Yeah, with some people, that's the way it happens. It's okay. That's just what happens. See, that's just the way it is. That's just the cards that were dealt to you, and that's the way the game's going to be played, okay? But still, it's worth it. It's worth it. You're going to find them if you persist in the process. Most people won't do that. But you got to help your leaders to understand that. When it comes to inviting people and doing the presentation, bring your sponsor with you, that experienced that leader. Let them do the presentation, and that new person needs to just learn. After they've seen you do it a few times, they're good to go. They're good to go. And you want it that way, because you don't want to wait for a meeting like this once a week to bring a prospect. You want to bring the presentation to the prospect. That way you're in business every day, every day. And you got to teach your leaders how to do that, how to present in simple ways, how to make money. And it's very simple. It's very simple. So stick with that plan. And then again, once we sponsor people, how to move them along, how to help them develop into being leaders. I think it's very important that once a month you have a mentoring meeting, where you have material planned out. You also assign some material to some of your leaders. It could be one of John Maxwell's books. You could do that. As a matter of fact, I would highly recommend that. And then what you do is then you spend that time mentoring your leaders and talking about the information, how to build them into better leaders. Talking about concepts and thoughts and attributes and qualities that we must all develop if we're going to be able to become a platinum, in this case, a great leader in this company. I highly recommend that you do that, is get them together once a month and do a mentoring meeting. That is so important that you do that with those leaders. So develop that. And usually I don't look at my notes so much. Now, and here's the other thing too. Then we have to understand that to be a high performance leader, there's 4 things that we have to do. 4 things that we have to do. Again, you heard the first. You have to commit to what? Something that you have to commit to if you're going to be a great leader. What is it called? What do we do? Anyone? Raise your hand. Feel free. Don't be worried about making a mistake. See? Again, that's fear. Anyone? Please. Action plan? Action plan's important. Okay, someone? Dream. Okay. Important. Anyone else? Yeah. Meetings, that's important. But to develop as a leader, you must do what?
Never give up prospect.
What's that?
Never give up prospect.
Yeah, never giving up prospect. Okay, you guys are back there.
Personal growth.
There we go. He got it. You got to give him a hand. Wow. He's a baseball player too. Okay, personal growth. We have to commit to that. That's right. So really, when you think high performance leaders, 1, they have to commit to personal growth. No. Man, you go back to your seat, man. You're good. Personal growth. They have to commit to that. I'm talking about a high performance leader does this every day. Just like I listen to Anthony Robbins tapes, I took notes every day. I go over John Maxwell's books, like the 15 Laws. of growth. Great book to read. Developing the Leader in You that John Maxwell wrote. Great book. Failing Forward. That's my favorite book John Maxwell wrote because I thought he wrote it about me. But that's all I did. Fail, crash and burn, fail, crash and burn. And then too is another area that we have to address in our life is our emotional. Our emotional. We have to take care of that. See, the performance leaders, we understand we also, besides, and this is mental. When we talk about this, I should have wrote that. I apologize. This is mental. Personal growth is mental. So we got to feed the mind, right? But then there's another part of us, another need that has to be made, and that's emotional. And that is we want to be recognized as leaders. We want to be recognized when we perform well. One thing I've learned is that people will get involved in network marketing for money in the beginning. But you know what keeps them? Recognition. Recognition. I've seen people leave companies that make $50,000, $100,000 a month, leave a company, go to another company because the other company valued people. It was a different culture. Different culture. When you have your team that you have, that's one thing that you should do. You should value your team, value those members, acknowledge those members, call them out in front of the team. So and so just got entered into the what's the pool?
Power pool.
Power pool. Thank you. I was having a mental moment.
You need a recall.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you get to 61. Anyway, so the thing is, but yeah, they just got in the power pool their first time, or they just get ranked for the first time, or they just sponsored their first person. One of the most powerful things you can do is recognize people between ranks. You recognize their activity. It's pretty powerful. But the thing is, when you do that regularly and show that you value your leaders, you'll notice that their performance goes up. That's right. But I'm talking about you as a leader. What about your emotional needs? Your emotional needs, and that can be love, family, things like that. And even when we have a platinum pinnacle, I can remember back when we were in Hawaii with the other platinums. Esdras Cabrera, who's now a platinum, he noticed something I said, but what I said to the platinums, I said, you know what? We worked very hard to get where we are. We worked very hard. But the one thing we must never forget is why we did this. Why did we do this? We did this because of our families. And what you don't want to do is lose your families now that you got this. Where you get so busy into your, the lifestyle of the platinum and traveling and what we have and all that. And things like that become more important than our family. So we have to realize that we have emotional needs, and we need to take time for that. Take a lot of time for our children and things like that. Some of the other things can be spiritual, right? That's another need that we have to satisfy if we're going to be a high performance leader. So we have to take time for that, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever. You have to take time to connect with your Creator. And I'm a firm believer in that. So every day I like to spend some time reading and prayer before I begin my day, because then I know God will bless what I'm going to do the rest of that day. And I'm a firm believer in that. And then the last of all, let me see that I don't forget. It's the physical, of course. And it is the physical. Okay, so the physical part of you. And that is, you got to take time to exercise, get your body in motion, when you do that, it's hard to be negative. It really is. Because if you do personal growth, I noticed that when I first started, like before I would spend my time taking notes on Anthony Robbins, getting it in my head, then I would go to the gym or go get involved in exercise or start running, things like that. And then I noticed when I did that, I started thinking of different ways to apply the information, different ideas of what I was going to do with the team. It was just all coming to my head. But there's a connection between it all. So the thing is, if we commit to personal growth, if we commit to personal growth and do that, and the same thing with, spending time with those we love, understanding why we're working so hard, why we're doing this, we connect with our Creator, and then we get involved in physical activities, we're going to find that we're a high performance leader. We're going to reach our potential. And that's the thing, and that's what we want to do. What I find is that people want to cheat their way to success. They want to be able to go out there and prospect people, but they're not doing personal growth. I met with a leader recently, and he's got a good downline. He's got a very good downline. But the thing is, he kept keeping track of all the no's, all the rejection, all the no's. He started out so positive, and matter of fact, he's got a great downline. He's got one strong leg, but lately he's been keeping track of all the no's. He's not doing any personal growth, and so when I met with him, and his wife interpreted because I didn't speak Bahasa, okay, and he says to me, he says. I can't get anybody to join. And I remember saying back to his wife, I said, translate please. I said, of course, I wouldn't join you either. And he looks at me funny. I said, well, look at you. Your shoulders are down. Your facial muscles are down. You're so negative. I said, why would anybody join you? I said, now, the thing is, here's what you got to do. You've got to change that, because what's happened is you've been keeping track of all the negative experiences, and now you've come up with this conclusion it doesn't work. And then you go around to other leaders and you're dumping on them, asking them, do they have any negative experiences? And that's supposed to confirm your negative experiences, that what you believe is true now, and that gives you an excuse to do what? To quit. But you know what? You're not going to get that excuse, because I'm not going to give it to you. You know why? Because it worked for me. You know what? It works for a lot of my leaders. I have 100 leaders in my network that have earned over $1 million. They're millionaires. They're millionaires. And I'll tell you what, go to the Philippines with that excuse. Southeast Asia, one of the poorest countries, they earn $1 to $3 a day, the average working person, and they're selling an $80 product. How do you do that? Somebody asked me that. How did they do that? I said, I have no idea, but I'll go find out. And when I was over there, I asked them, and they said, oh, that's real easy. We sell it one capsule at a time. They just get it done. They're very positive people. They're very positive people. They got a great culture, leadership culture, all that. And that's what I said to him. Not the GM now, Eileen Tan, she's phenomenal. She's great. But the GM before that, I remember him telling me, Jeff, you'll never see a gold in the Philippines. You'll never see it. Well, the last I checked, in the last 2 months, Manny Co is qualifying as a gold. Qualified. In one of the poorest countries in the world. So, okay, they get it done. And that's what I told them. I'm not going to give you that excuse. You're not going to get it from me. And you're not going to get off. So if you quit, you're a failure. And he said, well, what do I do to change? I said, good question. And that's the thing, you can change. You can change. I said, you're going to have to start a personal growth program. You're going to have to read books every day. What books do I read? Good question. I gave him a list of books. I said, now, when you complete that first book, I want you to let me know. I want you to message me and tell me you completed that first book, because I'm going to be asking you some questions. What did you get out of that book? How did that book help you? Now, if you don't message me soon, I'm going to wonder. And I'm going to know what's going on. And that means you're going to continue on the path of negativity and not personal growth. And I promise you, you will fail. So go ahead and quit now if you want. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to commit to personal growth. And we got to be that way with our leaders. And yes, I was showing tough love. Because actually I visited with him before last November. And it was that way. So I thought, no. It's time to be a little tough on that. So those are things to keep in mind, and that's how we achieve our potential. We become who we become. So here's the thing I want to talk to you. For those of you that want to be presidential, international goals, one thing you do not want to do when you get to a position where you have a downline, where you have an income coming in, and it's a good income, don't go into success coma. Success coma. Success coma is where you go to sleep. Money's good. My downline, you know, good money. Hey, I'm gonna go golfing. I'm gonna golf today. Then the next day, hey honey, you wanna go to the mall? Let's go to the mall. Okay, all right. Next day, hey, why don't we hop a plane? Let's go to the beach. And you're not there anymore because, you know, the money's always there. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. We're in a success coma, right? We're not active. We're not engaged. We're not in the saddle. You know what I mean? See, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that because then one day we're going to come out of the success coma. You know what gets us out of the success coma? What happened to my check? What happened to my downline? Hey, why is Jeff Altgilbers here after 19 years? Okay, I'm not in a success coma. Okay, I'm not. I stay engaged with my leaders. And I want to talk to leaders that want to succeed. But that is a common thing where people will just fall asleep and they're not engaged anymore. And for some reason, they seem to think that they can ignore their team and that money's always going to be there the rest of their life. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Because it's just like a house. You know, we built a beautiful house or an addition onto the house that we bought. And that addition was bigger than the house. But you know what? Even though it's brand new, it requires a lot of maintenance. I have one man, full-time, 6 days a week, and he's always maintaining the place. And there's always something breaking. You know, I got just the other day, hey, pipe broke. Some water came in a room. Okay, fix it. Okay. Oh, there's always maintenance with a house. Remember I said I didn't want just a rose garden and a perennial garden? I said I want to have my own gardener. He does that too. He does all of that. But you know what? That's the way your organization is too. You have to maintain it. You have to stay engaged with your team. You got to stay awake. And keep in mind, we fall asleep gradually. We just don't fall asleep. And how we fall asleep gradually is we stop doing personal growth. That's right. And then we gradually fall asleep. Our people gradually fall asleep. Next thing we know, our checks have crashed. And that is not a good thing. So then what can we do then? What can we do to, I'm going to put this down. What can we do so that we don't go into success coma and we stay engaged with our downline? There's a number of things we can do. One thing is always stay connected with your leaders. Call your leaders as often as you can. I mean, you know, just within reason, okay? Stay connected. Talk to them. Don't disconnect from your leaders. They are your drivers. They're your influencers. They're the people that are going to make your business grow. Talk to them about what book you're reading. Ask them what book are they reading. When you get together for your mentoring meetings, what materials are you going to train on? Another John Maxwell book, something like whatever. Could be Anthony Robbins, could be, you want to talk Jim Rohn material, whatever. Okay? Discuss it. Discuss it. And discuss things relative to the team. Business that has to do with the team. What are your goals as a team? What do you want to achieve as a team? Talk about problems if you need to. But you got to stay engaged. The other thing you can do is create a Facebook closed group with your team because your team might be spread out. And in that Facebook closed group or your WhatsApp group, you can share information. Not just you, the leader. You need to make sure your leaders understand they need to be contributors of content. They need to contribute. So you get them engaged. Involvement creates commitment. Involvement creates commitment. If you're the only wheel turning, you're in trouble. Okay? If you're the only one that can present, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? We want everybody to become, as our applications say, independent. Independent. Yeah, I don't even care if they distribute, but I want them independent. Yeah, but it does say independent distributor. Absolutely, it does. Okay? So, but the thing is, I want them independent. And so, and because they are independent, they're leaders. They're leaders in personal growth. And so they're going to share content. You can have people share testimonies, a business testimony. And some of the strongest testimonies you're going to have is people, not somebody who just broke platinum. It could be somebody who just broke qualified, diamond. Yeah, their first month. I tell you what, that'll create more excitement than news about a new platinum. Because people can't relate to that, but they can relate to the person becoming a diamond. And they did it in 30 days? Oh my gosh, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? And then you can promote a call and say, we're going to share how they did that. We're going to share it. Why would you do calls? What's the most powerful tool here? And anybody who you can't answer, because I already know you know the answer. What's the most powerful tool in network marketing today? What? What's that? Yeah, that's a good tool. You're getting close. What's that? Wait. You're close. I'm talking a tool that a lot of networkers use today. What? It's in the area of social media. But yeah, you? Who said that? You? Yeah, she got it. Facebook Live. Thank you. Go in some of these events where top runners from other companies, the one thing they're all in agreement. We are all in agreement on Facebook Live is the most powerful tool today in network social media. That was the best thing that ever happened in network marketing with social media. Because when I began in 1978, we called it multi-level marketing. Then when the internet came into existence, we called it network marketing. Today, you can describe what we do now as social networking. Social networking, because social media, as you so well pointed out, that is it, man. That changed network marketing, and again, in such a positive way. Positive way. It opened doors where we could actually meet people in other countries around the world and actually sponsor them. It's amazing and it's powerful. When you think about Facebook Live, now it's so much better. We used to use webinars, right? We used to think webinars was cool. The only thing about webinars is you can't see the activity on the other side. I can give a talk or something like that, but I can't see the people. Now, you start seeing these thumbs up when you get on Facebook Live, all these drifting smiley faces. And then when you say something that really triggers them, then boom, boom, boom. Then there's hundreds of smiley faces drifting. Then you see people posting questions or comments. And then here's the other thing. When you start it, you say, hey, there's so-and-so from New Zealand. Nice to have you on the call. So-and-so from Colombia. Nice to have you on the call. Oh, there's Miss Lee in South Korea. Nice to see you on the call. And then they're thinking, what? Wow, he acknowledged me. He appreciates me. Wow, I like that. Again, that's emotional. That's emotional, okay? So as high performance leaders, we understand that's important to people. Recognition is what keeps them with you in your team. Recognition, appreciating them as a person. And they might ask a question and we say, well, so-and-so from this country just asked this question. Hey, Bob, that was such a good question. We're going to have to address that. And you address it. Or sometimes you ask the question and you're looking for the answer. And then somebody from some country, let's say in the Philippines, Dawn from the Philippines, she just gave the answer and that's correct. They engage with you. And it's a powerful tool. So what does it mean? So I'm talking about the subject of communication. Communication to your team. If your team is spread out, then fine. How many of you have ever done a Facebook Live? I'd like to see that show of hands. A Facebook Live. Just a few, okay? All right, just a few. Okay. So I want to encourage you to do that. I want to encourage you to do it. I know one man who went to, I mentioned Ray Higdon. He's the #2 trainer in network marketing in the United States. And he went down to him, he was totally broke. And then Ray told him, he said, you know what, if you start doing Facebook Lives every day, you will crush it. You will crush it, your business will grow. Well, in 1 year, he earned over $1 million. He earned over $1 million. And I'm going to take another lady I met, I'll just share this last experience. She's from Texas. She was broke. She could not pay her bills. She could not pay her bills. She even sold her kitchen table just to have money for food that week. And her son said, well, at least we have a roof over our head. She took him to school and she went on to work. And later that day, but before she left, she posted a video on Facebook. Her mother calls her because she's been doing it regularly. And then finally, her mother calls her and says, you know what, you ought to come home because you already got 700,000 views on that video. 700,000 views. Well, today that woman has 2 million followers in Facebook. Facebook pays her to do videos. You know what, this was a woman that just learned how to do social media. She learned how to do it. To be a professional network marketer today and not engage in social media, you're just not going to make it. It's impossible, I'll tell you. You'll have some measure of success, but it's just not possible. Why? Because it's so powerful. That lady, and she's heavy, and she sells a weight loss product. I'm serious. But you know what? She does these, they're not planned videos, they're just raw and real. Raw and real. Being authentic sells. So don't feel like you got to dress up, you got to plan a video. No. Raw and real is what people like. People need to be able to relate to you. If they can't relate to you, then that's it. They're not going to engage with you. And that's what she was really good at. So if their kids just made a big mess in the kitchen and all that, and she's just sharing it on Facebook, what her kids did and all that, and parents are going, thumbs up, our kids do that too, man, I'll tell you what. You know, that's the thing they relate to. But going back to how you communicate with your leaders and how you use it, you can do that every week. Have a leader call. You can get your leaders on it. Just give a message to your leaders. But you got to be able to connect, and it's more powerful than a phone call because they can see you. They can see you, and then they can get their leaders on it as well. And they can benefit from it. Communication is so important. And again, if you use WhatsApp, then that's fine too. So then, I'm going to look at. So now I'm going to go into I've got one more point I'm going to make, and we're going to close it out. And that is, I'm going to share some. Now, before I give that point, I'm going to share. You want me to give you some tips on Facebook? Yes. All right, good. You're my kind of people now. I'm glad, because a lot of leaders just don't get it. They really don't get it. See, some people think that social media is anti-relational, meaning that, I had a leader tell me that one time. He said, "Oh, Jeff, you don't understand. Asian people are face-to-face people. You don't push a button and build a business like that." And I had to laugh at him. I said, "Well, you don't understand social media then, because the whole point of social media is to get together, physically get together. Social media is just a way to connect with people." Now, I understand if they're in South Africa, it's going to be a little challenging if you're over here getting together with them. But you can still do Facebook, FaceTime calls. You can do that. You can do Skype. There's just different tools that you can use. WhatsApp, you can do video calls and all that. And you can really connect to them face to face. You can still do that, build a relationship, you can coach them. And then once they build their business, sure, you can get on a plane and then get over there and you can help them take it to another level. You can do that. But I want to talk to you about some of the things that you should do in Facebook and some of the things you shouldn't do. And one thing is, and I think this is obvious to all of you, don't spam anybody. If you find somebody, a total stranger on Facebook, don't send them a link in the messenger unless they agree to it, okay? Don't just hit them. Most people, when people do that to me, I block them instantly, because I think that's so disrespectful to spam people. And the minute somebody spams me, that's it, they're blocked. In other words, I don't know that person. They just sent me this video and they just thought, oh yeah, you'll see the video and then he's just going, even though he doesn't know me and he hasn't talked to me, he's going to join and he's going to make me money. Yeah, right. It doesn't happen. Get real, okay? So number one rule, and we're talking about social media etiquette, don't spam. Don't add somebody to a group, let's say a Facebook closed group. Don't add them unless they agree to it, okay? It's funny because there was one guy that I went to this network marketing convention, and he was a social media trainer, and he said not to do that, and I was thinking, wait a second, that's what you did to me, man. He did. He added me to a professional group. He didn't ask me. I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I said, come on, show me respect. Ask me first. Then, sure, I'll agree. So that's the one thing. And even if they're already in your Facebook and your friends and all that, if you create a closed group, it'll say add some people. If you start adding multiple people, Facebook will block you from being able to do that. They don't like that. Now you can add a few, just a few. You can do that, but what I recommend that you do is just post it on your Facebook page that you want your people to request to be joined or request to be added, and then just add them and do it that way. But if you start adding a lot of people, they're going to block you. Don't over tag people. They don't like that either. They don't like that. That's just another rule. Don't be a Facebook stalker. Treat people like, don't treat them like they're a target. Something like that. Some people just don't like that either. One thing that you want to be able to do, if you really want to crush it, make sure that you have a Facebook public profile, public person page, okay? And that's going to be the page that you are going to attract. That's not for your 4Life people. In your personal page, sure, you can have your 4Life people, you can have your friends and all that, but on your public page, when you do that, your professional page, your business page, the purpose of that page is to attract people to you. Attract people to you. People that you want to find, people that you want to join you. And how you do that is never talk about the company you're in. Don't talk about the product. Don't post any of our products on your page. Talk to them about that, thinking they're going to buy it. That's not the way to do it. I'm going to tell you, the people that have done it well, they've earned millions and millions of dollars. And have done it when I've seen some real idiots who are idiots in network marketing, but they were pros in social media and make a fortune. That's right. It's really true. And how they do it is they never ever talk about what they do. What they talk about is what people want. And they also will post things, just videos, just things about, maybe it's a recipe you ladies are doing, it's a healthy recipe you want to share. And they start attracting people. And you can also select a target audience on your page. You can select people who like network marketing. If you just want to make posts about network marketing, you'll start building your audience. Just like that man that was broke, I mentioned 1 year became a millionaire. That's right. He targeted network marketers. Guess what they did? They would share his page. So that when he did a Facebook Live call on that page, it went out to other people. Then they started sharing. And then those people started sharing. He started building a following. And he was sharing tips about how to be successful, what you got to do. Maybe tomorrow you're going to talk about what is commitment. Why does commitment why is that an important quality in your business? The next day it could be about focus. The next day it could be about building with the right people. And you're talking about, and then here's the thing. A lot of people who are in other network marketing companies, they have lousy uplines. Lousy uplines. Man, that's real common. Then they look to you as the guru. You are the master. You are the teacher. So that's what you are. You're a teacher. And if you keep your personal growth going, you'll always find things to share, things that you're learning that you want to share to other leaders that they find value in. It's not what you can get out of the people, it's what you can give to the people. And you're not wanting them to buy anything, you want to give value to the people out there. What people? People interested in network marketing. You can also include people who are interested in John Maxwell. Who would be interested in John Maxwell? Leaders. What kind of people read his books? Leaders. Leaders in Kuala Lumpur. How many people read his books? And you don't even know these people. And yet they're out there. They're out there. And if you have your own professional page in Facebook, you don't talk about your employer life, you don't talk about transfer factor. Again, you can mention, people will finally come to you and they'll say, what is it you do? I had one lady say, I don't know what company you are in and I don't care. I just want to be with you. I want to join you. And there's a lesson in that people join you, not a company. When people join you, not a company, they don't leave you. They're going to stay with you. They don't care the next binary coming in town selling them whatever, or the next money game. They aren't leaving you because they believe in your leadership. But again, you have to commit to that leadership. You can't cheat your way to success. You got to stay engaged in personal growth every day, and you're sharing it with your team every day. Post 2 or 3 things a day. I wouldn't do more than 3. And it can be a photo, it can be anything. It's just a simple, thought, just a simple thought, But here's the thing. If you engage with people like that, then you're going to see results. But it's consistency. Consistency. Doing it every day, or you're posting every day. And if you do a Facebook Live call every day, you can do it for 5 minutes. You can do it for 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be long. And then you'll start seeing people showing up. More people are showing up. More people are showing up. You're developing your following. And that's how you're going to find a lot of new people. The other thing you can do Facebook ads. I've done Facebook ads where I would, in a particular city, in a particular country, maybe I was supporting a particular leader. I was coaching them how to do it. Anyway, we found great people that way. And then to get on the ad, then we can select a certain kind of audience. People that like network marketing, people that like John Maxwell, people that like Anthony Robbins, people like that. And then that narrows our audience right down to the right kind of people that we want to be able to reach. So Facebook advertising works. The other thing is, engage people. When people make a comment, when you post something, acknowledge them. Acknowledge them. When they make a comment, after I finish a Facebook Live call, you know how busy I am? I'm more busy after the live call than I was during the call. I'm sitting there going, like. But what did they see on their end? Oh, he liked me. He liked me. See? Emotional, right? Recognition. I'll tell you what's even better than that. And I don't do it right away. You know why? Because you got to learn the law of Facebook, how it works, how Facebook works. For example, when people come to their page, after you do the live call, eventually you're going to fall down in their feed, right? Because other people that they also are friends with are posting, right? How do you get your message back up on a professional page? On your professional page, or even your personal page, both. How do you get it back up? We'll go back to the Facebook Live call. Let's say you did it 2 days ago, and go back to their comments now. See, I don't usually answer the comments right away. I'll usually wait. Sometimes I do. It depends. If it's a question, I do. But I usually wait about 2 days later, and then I'll answer a couple of comments. Well, guess what it did? It just pushed it right back to the top in the feed on their pages. That's how it works. And guess what? The people that missed the call and there's more people that see the Facebook Live call on the replay than on when it's live, right? Okay? So now it's at the top of their page. Now, oh, wow, I missed his call. Then they start watching it. You'll notice the views will climb. And it's funny, our 9-year-old son, he says, he comes to me, he's got a YouTube account, and he says, hey, Daddy, look at that. I got 100 followers. I got 100 followers, So I'll show him, and he likes to sometimes when I'm doing the Facebook Live call, right in the middle of the call, he knows I do it on Monday night, and he'll sneak down there, and he'll get behind me, and he'll go. But people love that. They really love that because, again, they want to see you raw and authentic. Nothing planned, Nothing like that. Just be you. And that's the thing you have to understand about Facebook Live. Just be you. It's okay if you fumble. It's okay if you make mistakes. Whatever. It's okay. I remember this happened like 10 minutes before I was supposed to do the call one night. We had a power outage. Power outage. And I had an important message that I had to deliver. And Michelle was still in Taiwan at that time. And I had two kids at the house, you know. And I told our 15-year-old, all right, you're in charge of your little brother. I'm going down the base of the mountain. There's a country store there. I said, you know, and there I'm, and it's storming, and I'm in my truck, and I'm doing the call. You know what? People loved it because it was authentic. It wasn't a perfect situation. And I explained to them what happened. Everybody, now they appreciated the call even more. Even more. But again, going back to those comments, during the week, after I do my Monday call, so then on Wednesday, I'll answer some more. I'll acknowledge, I'll message them. Thanks for getting on the call. Or if somebody says, thank you for sharing, I'll just write thanks. Guess what? It pushes it right back up in the ratings. Thursday, answer. Pushes it back in the ratings. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pushes it back. And that way, and it's funny because because when I do the live call, there might be 1,200 viewers at the time, but by the time I do the next one, then it's already 5,000 viewers. Why? Because I keep pushing it back up. So it's just a point. So, well, here's another one. Make sure you have a good what? On your Facebook page. What's one thing you need to make sure when you when you do a Facebook page, you want to have a real good what? Anybody hands?
Profile picture.
Who said that?
Me.
Okay, good. That's it. Good profile picture. Give him a hand. So yeah. Don't show yourself holding the dog, okay? I see some people and sometimes they just got the picture of a dog, So really, and then also change it out from time to time, okay? Don't let it be a photo of you 10 years ago. You still look good now, okay? All right, so here's the thing, but change it out. I see some people with the same profile and background picture. Year after year, it's there. Change it out. Because when you do, it alerts a lot of the people in your network. They see your picture, they'll comment on your picture. So always choose the very best. The other thing to keep in mind, you hear that, how many people are you limited to in Facebook? Does anyone know? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. You in the back? Okay, he got it. He got it. Hands up. Don't hit that lady. Good man. All right. 5,000. You're getting to 5,000. Now I'm going to ask you a question. It might be a little harder. Hands up. When you post something, if you have 5,000 people, how many are going to see it percentage-wise? Just a hand? No, wait a second. No, you can't answer. Now, you already won, so you didn't win? You then.
5%.
What?
5%.
Wrong answer. Who said that? She got it, sweetheart. Stand up. Stand up. Now you're what, 22? Now we're not going to ask you your age, but you know what? She knew 10%. That she's correct. Thank you. That's right. You posted. You have 5,000. So what's the point? Here's the other thing. You need to go through your Facebook account and delete people that are not engaging. And when somebody sends me even a request, and I look at their page, and the last time they posted was 6 months ago, I don't even add them because they don't even get on. They just do it every now and then. No, go through and I do that. I'll look at people, and usually, like if I take the mouse and I put the arrow on right when I'm going down my list of friends, it'll show you. I mean, if they posted within the last 30 days, it's going to show 5 posts, 8 posts. It'll show you. But if nothing's there, and if they're not engaging, what's the point of having them? Because even though she was correct in saying 10%, the real truth is it's even less than that when you make a post. It's really less than that. If you make a real good post, I rarely today see anything above between 300 and 400 likes at the most. At the most. But even that's unusual. And even some of these people, you see a lot of likes. I mean, a lot of likes. That's usually what I call a paid boost. They're doing it on their professional page, and Facebook says boost. You click on it, and then it allows you to be able to reach 10,000 people, 20,000 people, something like that. In other words, it's guaranteed it's going to reach, right? So you're going to see a lot more likes in a situation like that. But on a regular page, it's on your personal page, it's not often. But make sure, again, that you go through and you clean it up. Clean it up and make sure that the people that are going to be in your Facebook group are people who engage. Why are they there if they're not going to engage? And teach your leaders how to use it. For example, when you go to your Facebook page and there's about, when you click on about, what does it say about you? I'm amazed when I click on about, it says nothing. Just email address. It doesn't say anything about that person. So make sure you go through there and make it professional. Make it professional. And I'm talking about a business page, but even your own personal page. If that's all you want to do, that's fine. But make sure it says something about you. Okay? All right. So we covered that. So then, also, Facebook Messenger. How often do you check it? If I was to look at your phone right now, how many people have messaged you and you haven't answered them yet? You know what I'm saying? So again, get good at that. And I'll tell you, these phones, we used to do this, right? We don't do that really much anymore. And then we do this, we're just messing. But now, a leader told me, hey Jeff, we don't do that anymore. We push the button and we leave a recorded message. That's what we do. And I'll tell you what, he's right. That is really effective. So when a prospect, or even if it's a leader, wants me to add them into Facebook, then what I usually do when I add them, and again, this is courtesy. This is good etiquette in social media and Facebook, that when people request to be added to your network, if you add them, then look at their page, their profile page, and if it deserves a like, give a like, and send them a recorded message back on the phone. Something like this. Hey John, I just got your Facebook request. Man, I'm so glad that you reached out to me. It's so nice to have you in my network. I look forward to interacting with you. Get on my Facebook Live calls that I do every Monday night. I'm going to share business information, be helpful to you and your team. Get your team on it as well. And it's nice connecting to you. I look forward to talking to you soon. Send them a message like that. People don't do that. They just add people. That's not how you use Facebook. You're never going to be effective that way. But when your team members do that, you got people in your downline want to be added to you, send them back a recorded message. Welcome them. Wow, it's emotional, isn't it? Makes them feel pretty good, doesn't it? Wow, they start looking to you as wow, that's a good leader right there. I like that leader. That's good etiquette. Reply to, already covered about comments when you do that. Be consistent, post 1 to 3 times a day. Oh, here's one. Use emojis. Emojis, that creates 33% more engagements when you use emojis. But don't overuse emojis. If you overuse it, it just looks stupid, right? But people like that sometimes. And then sometimes on your post, it might be something in your personal growth. You read something that Anthony Robbins said, Jim Rohn said, John Maxwell said, and you just said, I just had this thought that I wanted to share, and you use emojis along with it. And you'll get a lot of more engagements if you do that. I already talked about that. I want to make sure I covered all that. Oh, here's important. This is important, this last point I'm going to make on that. And that is that what you can do on your Facebook closed groups for your leaders, you can have Facebook closed for your customers. It's really great. I mean, I even have like Mon Mendoza out of the Philippines, he has a Facebook secret group. You got open, closed, secret, right? Open anybody can join and anybody can see what you have in that group, right? Okay. But what's the advantage of closed groups? Closed groups, you're invited. It's a privilege. And when they ask to be invited and they're added, they see it as a privilege. They value it much more. And then they also understand they need to contribute to the team, contribute to content in that group. So that's important. But the last thing, where was I? Oh man, where was I? The secret group. I was going to share Mon Mendoza. He may not want me to say this. It doesn't matter. But the thing is, Mon is a big product guru. He trains people on the product. He's really good at that. He's a great product trainer. And testimonies come to him by different individuals. He'll share those testimonies. The government can't see it. For Life can't see it. Compliance can't say a thing. They can't say nothing because they aren't in the secret group. Okay? Use these groups. See, again, the interesting thing about these tools is they're free. Can you imagine that? Go back to 1978 when I had nothing. I had to use a payphone booth to call a prospect, to call a customer. We didn't even do prospects back then, customer. We didn't have the tools. People ask me, is it hard? Is this business hard? I laugh when they ask me that. I say, you want to know hard? Go back to 1978. Look at this. I remember when I made phone calls, it was 25 cents a minute. That means for every 4 minutes, I had to pay $1 just to talk to somebody. I can remember those days. I can remember the days we had huge phone bills as leaders in network marketing companies. Huge. Or if we ever wanted somebody to see our literature on our products and we included a tape, a cassette tape, that's about $8 per package just to prospect. That's how I got Dave Phillips in For Life. I sent him a cassette tape. You may not know him. He's a Gold International Diamonds. He earns over $100,000 US a month. Been doing it for years. Okay? How did I get that kind of leader? I sent him a package way back then with cassette tape. And I kept calling him. I said, have you seen the cassette tape? No, I ain't had time to look at it or listen to it. I said, okay. Call him back again next day. No, I hadn't had time to call him. No, I haven't. I said, Dave, I called him one day. I said, Dave, where are your car keys? Where are my car keys? Well, they're on my counter. Good. Where's the cassette? He says, they're on my desk. Pick up the cassette, walk toward your car keys. Put it next to your car keys. So that next time you go in your car, pop it in, listen to it. He calls me back the next day. I went in. I heard the cassette. Okay? That was how we did it in the old days. Okay? That cost me $8 and some time. Okay? But here's the thing. The principles never change, the tools do. The principles never change, the tools do. When I got started in For Life, I was doing ads. I was always, they call it cold marketing. The proper term today is social networking. Okay? But back then, I did it cold marketing, where I ran ads in the newspaper, ran ads in a network marketing magazine, bought a list of network marketers, start calling them, where are you at? You in a company? Can you look at something? And that's how that's how I did things back then. Again, if I did that today, it would never work. I wouldn't even get the diamond doing it that way. Today, what would I choose? Facebook. Absolutely. Facebook's the most powerful platform for any networker. And you got WhatsApp, it's a great tool. I think WhatsApp groups are great and all that too. But I'll tell you, Facebook is far more powerful. And more people, around the world are on it. So use it and learn how to use it. And take time to, I can't get into everything about social media, and I'm not a social media expert. But the thing about it is, I can tell you that if you take the time to learn it, and learn it well, and if you start mastering it, if you get good at mastering it, I'll tell you what, you could be a lousy networker, you're going to be a very nice platinum. It's true. It's true. On the other hand, you could be an expert in network marketing, have all the knowledge about network marketing, you can explain the compensation plan, you can do all that, and you're lousy in social media, you're not going to make it. Because again, not only is it a tool to find new people, not only is it a tool to present yourself as a professional out there to people who are interested in the network marketing field, and also to people out there who study leadership or are interested in leadership and understand network marketing is the perfect business for leaders because you'll be paid so well as a leader. See, not only that, but it's also a very powerful tool in how you're going to communicate with your team. And if you don't communicate with your team, you're going to go into success coma. You're going to go to sleep. And then your leaders are going to go to sleep. Let me tell you something. You look at this wall of all these international diamonds, most of them are dead. They're in a success coma. That's right. You know why? Because when they joined this business, they never did these things I'm talking about. They never did these activities I'm talking about. Personal growth. They never engaged in personal growth. They thought they could cheat their way to success, and they went into success coma, thinking that they don't have to do anything to maintain their team or engage with their team or communicate with their team, and they're always going to have an international diamonds pay forever. And it's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. Wouldn't you agree? It doesn't work that way. So that we can't go down that path anymore. We cannot do that. We have to wake up. Well, you may be awake, but I'm talking about this room should be about 10 times the amount of people. And see, that's what happens because all these people, the ones in success coma, they probably don't even know I'm here. You know? Because they're sleeping. They're sleeping. But you know what? Most of them, and you know what they're saying? Oh, network marketing doesn't work. I got to go back to my job. I got to fight traffic every day, and I'm breathing pollution again, all over again. Network marketing just doesn't work. You know? No, they don't work. They don't work because they don't engage with their people. They got in thinking that, you know, they could cheat their way to success. That this, and, you know, it's like a money game. You know, I joined it, threw some people in it, you know, hey, it didn't work. So, do it right, train your people right. And there was one other point I was going to make is that when you do that, get your people to do it too. When we talk about personal growth, how you engage in it, you've got to train your people to engage in it. If you're doing Facebook Live calls, get your people to do Facebook Live calls. I saw one leader do one me and Michelle saw one leader do it last night out of Indonesia. And Christine might be watching. And Christine, you know, she pretty Chinese leader, such a wonderful leader. She's a gold international diamond. But she did her first Facebook Live call, and we just left Sherry Den's house and got back to the hotel at 11 o'clock at night, and we were getting something to eat, and me and Michelle were sitting at the table, and Michelle was on her phone, I was on her phone, and we saw Christine that came up, Christine doing a Facebook Live. I immediately engaged, and then I was hitting like, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, you know, and Michelle was doing the same thing. We were encouraging her. And that's the thing that you got to do. You got to do that with one another. You got when someone does a Facebook Live and you see it, engage with it. Now, if your time doesn't allow you to be on the whole call, that's okay. But engage in it, make some comments. If you can stay on the call, stay on the call. But the thing is, encourage your people to do it. They're going to be shy in the beginning. They're going to be, oh my gosh, people are going to see me. What if something goes wrong? That's perfect if something goes wrong. If everything's perfect, nobody believes it. Nobody believes it. It's canned. I've heard that before, But oh man, look at their kid. My kid is doing this. My 9-year-old, it's like, okay, Arthur, everybody in 50 countries has seen you, okay? You got their attention. Thanks, son. Thanks for coming. See, people love that stuff. They want you to be raw and authentic. That's the key. But if you haven't done Facebook Live, do it, and you're going to love it because once you start it, I get some more tips and some advice from some friends about what to do with it and all that. But the thing is, use the tools. Use the tools, and be willing to always change. Because I don't know when Facebook Live came around. But it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't here. And so we used Facebook, certainly in posting videos and doing things like that. And then now we got this Facebook Live, the most powerful tool in network marketing. Next year we might have even a more powerful tool. And a lot of the leaders in the United States, I'm talking about top earners and other companies, have shared this with me too. What they do is Zoom calls with their leaders. If you don't have the Zoom app, get the Zoom app. And the Zoom app allows you to do video calls. So you can have multiple people on, and when they speak, their faces appear. And you can connect that to your Facebook group or to a Facebook Live call. You can do a Zoom call, connect it to Facebook Live, and it goes out to all your leaders. And you got multiple people speaking on a video call. It's very, very powerful. Now, a lot of leaders are using Zoom. That is even a more popular thing. Not more popular than Facebook Live, but combined with Facebook Live, it's very powerful. So here's the thing. That's pretty much what I wanted to share with you. Is that? One other thing that I do want to say. And this is so important. This is so important. Always have a culture where you build one another up. Where you build one another up. Don't share negativity in your team. Don't share gossip. I see this, human politicking in a way. You talk about the upline. Hey man, you know what the upline did? They did something really stupid. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Negative stuff. Or if you start feeling down, talk to your sponsor, try, get help when you can. But don't go around to other leaders and saying, this just isn't working. This just isn't working. Because you know what the leaders are going to do? They're going to go. They're going to run from negativity. And that's what I do too. I don't have time for negativity. I'm a solution-oriented person. Now, if you got a problem, let's talk about it. Let's find a solution. See, I want to find the solution. But if a person just wants to talk about the problem, I'm not going to do that. So be that person where you have a culture where you edify one another. Some of you belong to different teams, okay? That's fine. That's fine. But here's the thing. Always respect and honor one another. I do that with the other leaders in the company that they're in a different line and all that. We're good friends. We're very good friends. And you know what? I would support them. I can remember years ago when I was in Taiwan, and I was working with one leader, and he told me, he said, somebody answered an ad we had in a network marketing magazine. He said that 3 top leaders from 3 different companies want to meet with you at this restaurant. I said, great, wonderful. And I went over there, and I sat around the table. Now, first of all, I told the leaders, don't ever cross-sponsor. Cross-sponsoring is stealing. You don't steal. If you're a thief, you don't need to be in this company, okay? All right, so they understood how I felt about that. So I'm sitting at this table, and they're all talking Mandarin, so I have no clue what they're talking about, right? So, and then finally the leader looks over me, and he says to me, you're not going to like what I'm going to say to you. I said, what are you going to say to me? These 3 are 3 international diamonds under Bonnie Taylor. And I said, what? And I looked at them, and I said, there's nothing I can do for you. I said, I cannot sponsor. He said, they want to come under you. I said, you know the policies. And I said, I'm not going to break the policy. And I said, there's nothing I can do. They said, yes, you can do it. And one lady, she held up a stack of apps, that thick, held them up. She said, all of them are 400 LP orders. This I'll give to you. And I said, thank you, but I can't accept it. And then after that, when we left, I told the leader, I said, get the general manager on the phone right now. Call him. His name was Johnny. He says, no, don't call him. Don't tell him what happened. Call him right now. And when he got him on the phone, I said, give me the phone. And I said, hey, Johnny, I want you to understand what just happened here, because I don't want this misunderstood. And I explained, he said, I'm really glad you called and told me that. So, and I said, you call Bonnie Taylor and tell her what happened, okay? And tell her to work with these people, okay? And also, I told those leaders, you don't have to shift lines. I'll be glad to help anybody. Because it'll come back to me. I promise you it'll come back to me. Always has. But the thing about it is, when you create a culture of trust, mutual respect, and honor, you're going to thrive. And some people wonder why the Philippines does so well. It's because they have that culture. They all have fun. in what they do. They put fun into their events. A lot of times right before they do a training, they're dancing, the music's playing, they're laughing, they're in different lines, and nobody cares. You know what I mean? And they're all doing well. So it was great being here with you. And I want you to think about those things that we talked about today. How you can grow as leaders. Not focused on selling products, but focusing on building a business that's going to move a lot of product. And then set goals. Set those weekly goals, monthly goal, and break it down to a weekly goal of activities that are productive. That's going to grow you and your team. And then think about this. What can you do in the month of September? We still have some of August left, right? So hopefully we'll finish out with a great month in the month of August. But why can't we plan also what we're going to do in September? And if some of you can break rank, you'll be recognized at the convention in October, right? That would be an awesome thing. And even if you don't break rank, if you say, well, you know, I'm a long ways off from breaking rank. Okay. How are you going to change that? You got to change it by activity. Wake up. Any of your leaders who went into success coma, wake them up. Wake those leaders up. Remind them of their dreams, okay? Get busy with your team. How many people could you bring to that convention in October? I'm going to tell you something. There's different statistics, but that I've heard. But here's one thing's for sure. When it comes to the amount of money that you'll make by bringing people to a convention, it becomes pretty staggering over the years. If you set a goal to bring as many people as you possibly can to that convention in October, I promise you one thing. One thing's for sure. That when you do that, after that convention's over, you are going to climb. Your business is going to move to a level that you never had yet. But it's going to depend on the amount of people that you bring to that convention. Are you ready to do that?
Yes.
I mean, really commit to that. And get your people to commit to that. Because it's going to make such a big difference in your business. And then when I come back the next time, instead of having some of these international diamonds who are in success coma, I'm going to see your faces up there, some golds, and who knows, maybe even a platinum. But
your online leader is in the success coma. You don't get support or not much engagement.
okay, so good question. And he said, if you're not in a success coma, but your upline's in a success coma, what do? Take a bucket of water, go to his house and dump it on his head. Now, here's what you do. You have more than one upline, right? Yeah? Hopefully they're not all in a success coma. It amazes me how many people are in a success coma. It's really why Malaysia has got to this point. It's been asleep, But it's like Sleeping Beauty, and it's time to wake up, It's time to wake up. And some people have. Some people are becoming more progressive now. But the thing about it is, I can tell you from experience that, for the most part, I never had an upline that really engaged with me. I really went out there and did it myself because I did what? Personal growth. Those were my mentors, Like I said, it started with the mentors that, go way back. And then I added more mentors. And, like Jim Rohn, like I said, I started with his mentors. Then Jim Rohn, then John Maxwell, then Tony Robbins. I mean, you add them. And even today, I have paid mentors. That means I paid people to mentor me. Guess what? They paid people to mentor them. It's really true. And it's not cheap. The last paid session I had was $15,000 for one day. So am I serious about personal growth? I'm very serious about personal growth. Because that's what keeps you going. But it doesn't matter. If they have success coma, you don't have it. Just get involved in the, personal growth. And like I said, the books that I've recommended, you can also message me. I'll be glad to help. Hey, why not? Is there any, maybe a few questions before we shut down? Anyone else have questions? I said, shut up, shut down. Any other questions? Hey.
Can you talk about the experience with the young living essential oil as compared to the full life?
Oh, she asked me, what my experience with Young Living compared to 4Life. Well, here's the thing. Right before I joined, I didn't even mention that company, but right before I joined 4Life, I was in Young Living. And great company. I know Gary Young. I know Mary Young, the owners, and all that. And the only reason why I left Young Living, that was the company I was in when I joined 4Life, was because their compensation plan. They have good oils, but the compensation plan wasn't so great. And they keep changing it. And you can't do that. Because your leaders will build, they'll structure to maximize the compensation plan, and then you pull the rug out from under them, and then you change it. Yeah, that's not the way to do people. You can't do people that way. And so for that, and the other thing too is they didn't have a lead product. Most important, flagship product is most important, because you cannot focus on 100 products. And there's a very confusing thing with Young Living. They have all these oils, but you got to be a naturopathic doctor to know what all that means. And we all know you cannot duplicate complexity, right? It must be very simple. You have to have simplicity, then you can duplicate. And that was pretty much one of the reasons. And then when I went with 4Life, it was because they had a flagship product. And today we still have the flagship product, Transfer Factor Plus and Transfer Factor. So, but as far as the oil quality, Young Living has great oils. We have great oils. Okay. Young Living has far more oils than we have because we're just getting started with the oil. But keep in mind, even though we have these oils, we're not an essential oil company. That's not our focus. Because there's a lot of, like, their competitors, like doTERRA. Then there's other companies coming out with essential oils. See, again, it's the same thing like with herbs, vitamin, mineral-based product companies, right? There's so many of them out there. Same thing will be true with essential oils. But the thing is, what attracts people to us is the fact that we have transfer factor. And we have transferceutical science. No company has that. But everybody out there, there's a lot of companies out there with essential oils. But the good thing about it is our oils are pure. They're 100% pure. So the quality is there. And the compensation plan is so much better. So much better. Because in the last compensation plan change they made, I remember where they made the comment that they were paying out too much. Too much. Too much. That's how you think about your leaders, son. Okay. And then we get paid 64%. Another question? Hey.
You talked about giving away some cassette to your prospect before. What's in the cassette?
Wait, I couldn't hear you. Speak up.
You talked about sending cassette to your prospect customer. What's actually in the cassette?
Oh, in the cassette.
Oh, what was in the cassette? Oh, that was Dr. David Markowitz. Had to do with using transfer factor with children and the results he was getting as a pediatrician, pediatric doctor. The results he was getting back then. Yeah. But I mean, you got a lot of testimonies even here. I mean, you're not hurting for testimonies, that's for sure. Anyone else? We answered all. We did it all, man. Right? Right? I want to thank all of you for coming. And here's the thing. Thank you so much. Wait a second. We got 3 more prizes. We can't leave yet. We cannot leave yet. We cannot leave yet. So let me see. Okay, let me see. So when we look at our Facebook page, and we need to clean it up as far as the some of the people that are on it. What's one of the first things that we look for? One of the big things that we look for in our page? Activities, that's it. In other words, if they're engaged. They're engaged. If they're not engaged, take them out. Take them out, add somebody. You might have somebody who wants to join with you. And the higher the quality of the people, the better. Actually, see, here's the thing. The more engagements you have, you're better off having 2,000 people in your Facebook page. If you have people that engage, you can reach more people.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Would they be offended if you remove them?
Okay, very good question. And I can see by your face you're a very compassionate person. This is a Mother Teresa type. I can tell by that. She wanted to know, will they be offended if you take them out? You know, I tell you what. You know, I wondered. One day I walked out to my car. You know, I noticed all the tires were slashed because I took someone out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just joking. Actually, I tell you what. Sometimes they do get offended, and again, I look for inactivity. That's all I look for. But I took one out. I took 150 out before I made this trip over here because I knew I would meet some great people in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore that I would need to add, right? I knew that. So I took 150 out that were inactive. And then I got a message right away from somebody, I can't believe you took me out and unfriended me. And I thought, oh my gosh. You know. So, of course, I said, I want to really apologize. I didn't think it was important to you. But now that I know that it's important to you, it's important to me. So please send me a friend request, please, so I can add you back. You know? It's funny how people get emotional about being unfriended. But we have to keep in mind that the good thing is it sets a bar, sets a standard, and then they also know they need to engage. You need to use it. If you're going to have it, use it. And that's a good thing. And encourage your leaders. Look at their leaders and make suggestions. Now, don't police them. You know, don't be, like a critic, on their Facebook page. But you can say, hey, I know some of your page, when you click about, there's nothing there. I know there's more to you than that, man. Okay, so we got to go, let me think. How do I do this one? But that was good. I tell you what, you're going to be powerful on Facebook. I know. When we, okay. So when you do a Facebook Live call and you do a post, maybe a training post, and keep in mind, people read. That was something that impressed me because I was told that people, just don't read as much. They don't read. Oh, yes, they do. Sometimes they pay more attention to that than they do pictures. Now, pictures are powerful, but they do read. And so I noticed that when I would put training posts and all that, I got a lot of responses, a lot of engagements to people like that. But after you do a post like that, maybe just a thought about the business that day or just something motivating to the leaders. If you want to keep it ranked in their news feed, what do? Back there.
Post 2 days later.
Come back. I can hear you.
Comment in 2 days later. Comment if later, 2 days later. Comment to the
Excellent. She got it. What she said was, remember I said, after the call, I'll like, because they appreciate it. It's very important to acknowledge that they got on your Facebook Live call. Acknowledge it. To not acknowledge it is disrespectful. It really is. Okay? But like she said then, if you want to keep it ranked and get more viewers, because again, the replay, you're going to get more in the replay than in the live, right? So to get it ranked, what she just said is true. I usually wait 2 days later. Sometimes I'll do it a day later, but I don't do it the same night. And then after that, every day I'll answer another comment or 2 comments, maybe 3, just depending on how many there are. It depends on how many there are. But I space it out where I'm able to answer comments through the week until I get to the next what? Next live call. That's exactly right. And then you're going to notice that the viewers, it's just going to skyrocket. And also, here's something I totally forgot about. Sometimes you'll do this on your Facebook page. It might be friends only. In other words, the people that see your page. I know some people, they feel a little threatened or vulnerable if they open themselves up. But again, on a public profile or a business page that you have on Facebook, again, that's anybody can see that. Anybody can see that. Okay. So the thing about it is, sometimes people, they'll post on their personal page, but the setting is friends only. And so what you do at that point is you simply select privacy, and then you can change that post to public. They can't see your page, but now everybody and people can, this is the most important thing, they can share your video message or they can share your post to their pages. Once you do that, you're going to get more what? Let me see. Followers, you got it. So the thing about it is, thank you so much. And I'm glad we had this discussion about Facebook. I don't want you to think that I spend most of my time, on Facebook, because I really don't. I'm just saying it's a powerful tool to find new people. It's a powerful tool to expose yourself as a professional, a network marketer, to people in your area here that are interested in network marketing, interested in leadership, by reading a lot of these authors, John Maxwell and all that. And you can find them, they can find you. And then the other thing is you can create your own Facebook private groups where you can train your leaders. Again, it's all about communication. If you're communicating with your leaders, then you're keeping them focused. If every day you're putting up content, they're getting it on their phone, oh wow, man, that's a good message. Or wow, that's a powerful story. Someone just made qualified diamond in 30 days? How'd they do that? Oh, it's going to be on a Facebook live call tonight? Okay, oh wow, I'm going to get my team on that. It excites them. It excites them. It gets them focused. And see, that's the problem. Too many people went into success coma because they're not communicating. First, they're not doing personal development. Then they got, you can't give what you don't have, right? So to do that, you first got to give to yourself. That's called the law of contribution. Then you can give to others. Okay? And they're not doing that. They're not giving to themselves. They're not giving back to their team. They're not communicating. They go to sleep. Their leaders do the same thing. They go to sleep, and then volume goes down. Boom, crashes. So use these tools, and then when I come back a little later, I want to see how you're doing. I'm going to be watching for you in the Summit magazine. I'll be watching Malaysia. I'm going to be watching. Are these leaders moving? Because, they should have applied everything I talked about. They should be really busting rank. Volumes are up. And then Malaysia can go back to being #1 in 4Life.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing so many important tips for us today. You all learned a lot, right? Yes! Jeff and Michelle, we appreciate you all taking the time to be here with us for these few days, for inspiring all of us in growing our business. Now, can we give Jeff and Michelle another round of applause?
Thank you for listening. Hope you get a lot of benefit and then learn lots of from this video.
Who's going to go up on stage?